Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Drunken Forest, the 4v4 Black Forest Tournament Semifinals, Team Barles versus Team Slam. Each of these team captains drafted 5 players overall to their team, and 3 of these team members will be joining them for every game in this tournament. As you see, we are going to have Slam, who is the first player. I actually haven't removed the pop-ups from my overlay, but that won't influence us because we're going to be using Capture anyways. But Slam's team will be consisting of Slam, who was the team captain. I am Zach is the first player drafted, and the first player drafted and the team captain will play in every game. The rest of the players can vary depending on when they were picked. There were 2 tier 3 players picked, and there were 2 tier 4 players picked, and those players can substitute each other, but the key is that you have to have at least 1 player from each tier. Tier 1 is always the team captain, tier 2 is the first player drafted, and then there were 2 tier 3 players selected and 2 tier 4 players selected. So Slam is the team captain, I am Zach is the tier 2 player, which means that these 2 players will be playing in every game. They will be playing as the Pockets, Kumans, and Celts. Slaktarn will be one of the flanks. He was the tier 3 player of this team, at least one of them, and Jerry is the tier 4 player. He's going to be playing Mayan flank in blue. Surprising that we are going to see the 2 strongest players playing pocket. Usually it is said that in 4v4s you want your best players to be flanks, so we'll see how Jerry can actually weather the storm. Other side is going to be Barles, the team captain, and Push the Tempo is the tier 2 player, so these 2 players will be featured in every game. The rest of the players can vary. So with that, we will jump into game number 1. Over here, I'm going to open up Capture Rage myself. So they are playing on the newest patch of the game, which apparently introduced some new bugs and fixed some old ones. We'll also be using the brand new version of Capture Rage, which means that now the town center icons are nicer. As you see, it is worth pointing out that the colors of the town centers are also changed, so it's much more easy for you to spot them, as we're going to have Slam's team on the right side, as cold colors and warm colors will be Barles' team. We're going to have villagers coming forward right away from Jerry. This is one of the reasons why Mayans are so good. You open with Loom anyways, and he just wants to wall himself off. We're going to have an extra scout being brought in here by Push the Tempo. Zastosi, another Polish player, is going to be the other flank, but by the time they arrive over here, these walls are supposed to be going up, I believe, so this is going to be a peaceful side. Other side, let's see what we have. We have a sneak attempts coming in here because there's a lot of crossings to be had, and oh, look at this. I mean, Nolo Finve is actually trying to wall like this, but honestly, he could just wall using that gold, and that would be so annoying for Slaktarn. I feel like Slaktarn is massively underestimating the fact that all of his gold is on this side, and like, Nolo Finve isn't punishing this, but he could even kill the boar, and I think he's planning to do that. Oh boy, Nolo Finve is going to lame the hell out of his opponent here. Like, actually lame the hell out of it. The board de-aggroes, but now it's coming back. It's a little bit sloppy over here, but even if you kill the boar over there, this is even better then, because you can kill the boar here, and then you can just wall this one off, so your opponent can't access it. If you would kill the boar here, Slaktarn would still be able to bring in villagers and take that boar. Now, this boar is gone, these gold mines are all super exposed, and that is an excellent start for Barles' team. So Barles' team, Barles is the team captain in yellow pocket. He's playing Mongols. Other pocket is going to be Push the Tempo as Byzantines, surprisingly. That is a surprising pocket over here. He's this tier 2 player. And we're going to have the 2 flanks. Zastoshi, another Polish player. And Nolo Finve, he's a Turkish player who plays quite a lot of Battle Royale, for example. And honestly, at this point, considering how much pressure they are doing here on Slaktarn, I think the plan is that they could try to isolate him from the rest of his teammates. We'll see if that's gonna happen, but I could definitely see something like that being the play here for Nolo Finve, because he's bringing those vultures up quite forward. Now he's gonna settle with these walls, but that doesn't change the fact that his gold mines are dangerously open here, and he's gonna be unable to do much to protect these gold mines from all aggression. Both of his stones are at the back, which is a little bit helpful, but it seems like Slam's team isn't really putting an emphasis on walling it off at all, so there could be sneaky villagers happening very easily. Now comes a scout from Slam to help out for Slugtarn over here. Slugtarn very close to losing his ego, and I feel like this is enough for Nolofinve to get these walls up, and maybe they can even get a snipe on one of these scouts. So the other pocket, as I said, is Kuman's I am Zek. That's also going to increase your teammates' wall strengths. So as you see, this is 225 HP pulse side walls as opposed to only 150. But there is a huge hole in the middle with a lot of boars that could be taken. There is also quite a lot of boars on the side of Barles. And what I really am looking at right now is how far at the back Zach is. This actually is a perfect corner because you can actually get set up trade over here. In fact, this opening would also be perfect for the other trade as well. The problem is that Nolofinve is so close that he could disrupt that, but yeah, based on how open this map is here for Zach and how open this map is over here, I would say that this is perfect for trading. Not so much for Barles' team, unless they chop in here, which is not really a big deal. They can do that. Now, when they're playing Black Forest, they're playing on explored version of Black Forest, which means that they see everything at the beginning of the map. So they know the passages, they know these little pockets, they see the boars. Obviously, they don't see the movements of the opponent, but they know about the characteristics of the maps. We have 2 pawns on the side of Imzak, and he's gonna be docking one of those for a fish boom. It is said that it is ideal to dock a pond when you have at least 3 shore fishes inside in Black Forest, and it seems like this is good enough for Imzak. On the other side, we also have a dock for Zastoshi. That's the only lake that they possess. Let's see what we have in the middle. This one is wide open. Look at all the boars on this screen. There's 9 boars on over here. This is, honestly, if you're Team Slam, you're trying to wall it off over here. Bring up some vultures, wall this off here, and then you can mill all these boars, and you're gonna have an insane eco. It seems like none of them are really going out for those boars, which is a little bit surprising for me. And it looks like now Nolofinve is deciding, okay, if no one is taking those boars, I'm going to bring in a boar with my villager, lure it in. Right now it's a little bit dangerous because there is double scouts around here and they could try blocking that villager. But at some point Nolofinve wants to bring in at least some extra boars for himself. Makes quite a lot of sense for him. It looks like Slugtarn wants to break out of this, but it's gonna take quite a lot of time until that actually materializes. Other side is completely peaceful, but we do have a barracks up here for Jerry. Nothing really coming out of that. And now it looks like we're gonna have 2 villagers coming in here for Nolofinve. I think Slugtarn is trying to sneak a villager through here, because this villager I don't think he's actually coming to fight, especially with 30 HP out of 40 only. And now he's gonna be intercepted by a wolf, but I think he might have wanted to sneak a villager here. We will have another villager coming in here for Slam. I think Slam himself wants to bring in an extra boar, and so he will. And what is Nolofinve up to? If he's coming in here with villagers, I would say that he's either sneaking, or he's gonna try to wall this one off, so he secures the extra boars for himself. Exactly. That would be an awful lot of boars, and that's gonna be very helpful, even for a teammate like Barles. Barles' Mongols, he could send 5 or 6 villagers to mill these huntables, and it'll be an insane food income for him. It looks like they are going to give up on the team walls here. This opening in the middle and the fact that we have Nolofinve controlling this means that they will have to do individual walls over here. So as you see, Jerry's already walling himself up. Slugtarn had to do the exact same thing, although he actually had a layer over here as well. Remember, Slugtarn is down 1 boar because his boar is rotting over here as it was killed by Nolofinve. Slam, he isn't really bothering with walls right now, and let's see if their opponents are actually going for some aggressive plays. Fast Castle from Push the Tempo. Could even be Fast Imp, to be honest. We'll have a Man-at-Arms play, interestingly, from Jerry. He's hiding those right now, but I guess he just wants to bash his way through these walls. And this is a quite big opening, so Zastoshi might have some trouble defending that over there. We also have a pond over here for Nolofinve I actually missed out on, and he's gonna be making some fishing ships himself. And now Slam is just gonna wall this crossing off. With that being said, of course, Kuban 2TC boom over here for Imzak, nothing special about that. And the first player to click up to Castle Age is going to be Barles, of course, with Mongols. Barles is going up at 22+2 with the Mongol hunt. I do think that he actually brought in his deer, because I don't see any deer close to his base, so it would make sense for him to do that. And now it looks like all the walls are deleted and towers and men-at-arms are coming in here from Jerry. Those palisade walls are relatively weak against men-at-arms. Nice reaction, I would say, from Zastoshi, coming up with the stone walls, and I think that is actually a very, very weak portion of the stone wall. And the tower, without fletching, is still going to be able to reach that villager, but it's not doing enough damage to prevent that will from getting the stone walls up, and that pretty much is the end of this push here for Jerry. Indeed, he's just going to expand his base a little bit more over here with the stone walls. But at the end of the day, that didn't accomplish much. And now the question is if Nolofimve is gonna pull some villagers to get the mill up over here, because it would make a lot of sense for him to take the hunt, or his teammate. I like this counter tower over here from Zastoshi. Just prevents his opponent from dropping a tower here and continuing on with this push. And it looks like both players, or Jerry is going to bail on this, and Zastoshi is going to survive. For now, it looks like we're going to have a layer of stone walls here as well. They know that this layer of palisade wall isn't going to stop much, so they'll just wall this one off. Still, there's a lot of boars here in the middle to take. And with this tower up, I'm not sure if all those walls can be safely built, but should be no major trouble still. Free TC boom coming up here for Barles, sending quite a lot of villagers early on stone, so this may actually turn into a 4 TC boom pretty soon. A heavy fish boom from Zastoshi on that pond, and we also have a pretty significant fish boom from Amzak. He's at 47 eco with a Kuman double TC play. We do have Slugtarn going up to Castle Age. It looks like everybody will be outposting everything, and Slugtarn is going to make a defensive tower here. This is something that he has to make because all of his gold is over here. So he wants to make sure that a single tower here cannot deny the majority of his gold income. It looks like these men-at-arms are just cleaning up these walls for the time being, so this is going to be a little bit more open for future. It's basically best use for the men-at-arms. There isn't really much they can do over here otherwise. So at this point, Jerry's team possesses only a 6 villagers lead over the opponent, because even though there is a 2 TC boom from the Kuman's player, there is already 3 TCs for Barles. He's at 36 villagers, and that is a steadily increasing number. It could increase even more if he actually went for the boars, but he's not going for that. So everybody is either up to Castle Age or going to be on the way to Castle Age in a matter of moments. So let's see the other side. We are gonna have a free TC boom from Push the Tempo as well. Only 1 TC right now for Zastoshi, dropping TC number 2 and 3. And Nolofimve is just about to click up to Castle Age over here as the last player. Just started? Yes, this started 17 minutes ago game time. We will have a 4 TC boom from Slam over here, so he's gonna go full-on greed mode boom, which is a little bit dangerous considering they only have a single layer of palisade here, so they aren't going to be punished for this, but they could be punished, to be honest, because he's gonna try to add a layer of houses as well, but this is an insane boom, and as I said, this is still a single layer of palisade, so if, I don't know, Barles would arrive with a couple of knights, which is just a theoretical thing because he wouldn't really waste his time with Mongols to do that, but in theory it would be possible for someone from the opponent to arrive with a couple of knights, get through these walls very easily, and suddenly you're in trouble. It looks like we're gonna have TC number 2 for Slugtarn. His gold mines are safe right now, but that could still be a concern for him. We will have a double layer stone walls over here for Zastoshi. He just wants to wall himself up and go for a free TC boom, which, in comparison to Jerry, is actually pretty cool, if you look at this. He's up to Castle Age, booming on free TCs. Jerry went for the Man-at-Arms Tower split, didn't really work out, because he's just reaching Castle Age over here as the last player from his team. Third TC is going to be going up for Amzak right now with the Kumans. He's even getting Gilnets, so he wants to have a crazy fish when, honestly, this is a very underrated part of his eco. It's one thing that he's Kumans, but having 7 fishing ships or fish traps with such close distances is an insanely good resource income for our Kuman player over here. It looks like this scout is trying to be a little bit annoying, should be able to accomplish very, very little. I think it's better if you keep your scouts alive. Worth noting that Barles has his scout over here. We have Push the Tempo as well with his scout on this side. So they are really in a position to be able to see if their opponents are moving out. And it looks like some extra boars were brought in, indeed. 2 more boars under TC of Nolofinve. I like that quite a bit. He's going to be adding 2 more TCs, and you're going to get the extra sheep as well for these now with the Tatars. And it looks like what we're going to have is a single Mangonel from Zastoshi. Zastoshi is really panicked about the Mayan player over here. You can see that he's adding... This is the 3rd or 4th layer of walls being added already. Meanwhile, for Jerry, he is going for just 1 TC plays. Looking at Jerry's resources, Jerry wants to castle drop. This is why there is a triple layer wall here. I was thinking about the same thing, that Mayans may actually castle drop you, and the best way to defend against that is, well, either you have your own defensive castle or you have like a couple of layers of stone walls. That's not gonna stop petards though, so that's something that you also need to consider. And we also have to consider that Slugtarn is going into Imperial over here, so it's a fast imp with the Aztecs, and he's making monks. So this is gonna be probably redemption block printing monks from 2 TCCs. Eco is not gonna be super great, and I'm not sure how much damage he can cause with those, but basically the way that you actually play this in most cases is like Trebzen monks. You need some sort of siege to complement the monks, that's for sure. Looking at the stone counter of Zastoshi, he's just sending in villagers to stone, so he's not gonna be able to make a defensive castle anytime soon. Yet this castle, I don't think it's gonna be able to range all the stone walls, so that's gonna buy some time for Zastoshi, who I don't think that he's aware of the fact that there is a castle coming up here just yet. But he's going to soon find out. We will have a 5 TC boom now for Imzak. We have a 30 villagers lead for Barles' team because Barles was on 4 TCs. We have pushed the tempo on 4 TCs as well. And we have 4 TCs as well for Zastoshi, 3 for Nolofinve. So overall, if you combine the TC count, now there is a 4th one as well for Nolofinve. They have 16 TCs combined. There is only 9, 11, 12 TCs for Jerry's team. For now, it looks like Cass is gonna be able to destroy the tower, and let's see how Zastoshi reacts. Plumed archers will be coming in here for Jerry, but as I said, it's gonna take some time until you can actually get through those walls over here. And you can see that Zastoshi is also walling off these wood lines over here in the middle, which would prevent an onager cut. Other side, we're gonna have battering rams coming in here, so it's Kebdram Monk from the Aztec player over here, most likely. They are knocking through the walls. So, what else do we have on the other side? Plumed archers still in increasing quantities, but it's gonna take some time until you get through these walls. The bigger question is what's gonna happen on the south, because I feel like this could be some egos being mixed in as well. And I don't think that Nolofinve is very well prepared for this. He's getting a Mangonel out, and the Mangonel should be able to hold against battering rams. There is block printing, although if those monks have redemption and block printing, they just easily outrange the Mangonel and convert it. So we'll have 3 players going into Imperial over here, everybody but Nolofinve. However, he's gonna have to hold against the Aztec monk push over here, and they will also have to push against Slam's horde over here. I wonder if this cast is gonna be for Void Raiders. I would think that Siege Ranger Halberdier is a more reasonable composition. In that case, this is just gonna be there so you can get Furor Celtica for your siege weapons. Now, the Mangonel is going to be able to hold, but as I said, monks, once redemption comes in, they already have block printing. They should have no trouble converting that Mangonel, and indeed, that's gonna be the plan. Let's see if the Mangonel can get a shot out. And indeed, it gets a shot out, but now it's gonna get converted, and I'm not even sure if those contingency walls will go up. Even if they go up, the Siege Workshop and the Blacksmith is actually a weak spot over here. Mango Dance coming in here. This is gonna be really tough for Nolofinve to hold. I feel like what he needs in this situation is a defensive castle. And he's sending Vultures to stone, but it's gonna take some time. Another Mangonel gets converted, and there is still a hole here. This is a hole, and there is a Brax coming up from Slam. Slam is going for Halberdiers and Onagers, and they are going to push the side of Nolofinve. Soon Mangadive will be coming out from Barles, but they need a little bit more time to be efficient. We're gonna have Onagers as well from Imzak, and based on the location of these, I would be tempted to say that what's gonna happen is that they know that they can't get through these walls. They will try to cut through here and get some cavalry into the eco of Zastoshi. Zastoshi only has 2 military, 1 Rattan Archer, 1 Scout, so a couple of knights running into his eco could be disastrous. Zastoshi was PL Grammy on Woobly. I didn't know that. I wasn't very familiar with the Black Forest players, I have to add that though. So honestly, there is an Onager now cutting from Imzak. So they don't even need to destroy these walls, but this will probably also be a cut through over here. Nolofinve is also going up to Imperial, but that's an increasing amount of monks here, 65 HP right now. Kepdram, there is Theocracy too. Imzak is going full boom, by the way. Eco-wise, there is 70 Vultures lead for Barles' team. However, the position of Nolofinve is getting more and more dangerous. His Imp TC is this one, which is not impossible to be destroyed, to be honest. I would think that Imp is gonna finish here, but that might be a close call. On that, here is the Onager cut, and Plumed Archer is already coming in. Rattan Archer should be fine, and it looks like the grand game plan for push the tempo was Cataphracts. I was wondering about the Byzantine pocket. Cataphracts does make sense. We'll have Furor Celtica for Slam over here on the side, and you can see that he's already bringing in the Onagers, he's gonna bring in Halberdiers. Monks could be coming in. Technically, the monks could have converted that stable and get some Xolotl warriors out. And Jerry's castle coming up here, and they are going to set up the traps over here. And you need the castle to make Cataphracts at, and that's a concern for push the tempo. He's gonna be able to hold that castle for some time. It's Byzantine HP on those castles, and theoretically, there isn't much that can stop Cataphracts from sniping those traps over there. There's a couple of Plumed Archers, but I don't think that that is going to be enough, especially with Rattan Archers supporting. But the traps have to be taken down by the Cataphracts. Apparently, Cataphract has disappeared from combat over here, reappeared, so that is still a thing in Capture Age. The castle is gonna be going up over here. Cataphracts appearing and disappearing at the same time. Look at all those monks. They were trying to get all the Mangudai conversions. Most of the Onagers went down, but now Slam is dropping a castle in the face of Nolofinve. He's gonna try to stop this one. And the real question is, can you actually do this with that many monks around? Because I don't think so. Look at that. All those Mangudai are just going down to the monks. There is apparently Heresy in for Barles, but that castle is going up. Nolofinve, and that's the problem. Military numbers. Eco is much better for Barles' team. They have 100 Vultures lead, but there's a 60 military advantage for the team of Slam over here. So maybe it was a little bit too late for Barles' team to start making military. They went for two very, very greedy pocket plays. It's Cataphract and Mangudai, which is insane if you can actually mess them, but can you actually mess them? That's the real question. Mangudai are coming out right now from 3 castles, which is not an awful lot when it comes to, you know, comparing it to a fully boomed Kumun player spamming Cavalier, soon to be Paladin, from 10 stables. That's the main concern over here. Now, as I said, Byzantine castles are awfully strong, and it seems like there is only 9 Vultures repairing this castle, 2 traps for Zastoshi. In the long run, should be satisfactory to destroy that castle. There is Siege Ranger coming in here for Slam. That's a lot of monks for Slaktarn. Holy smokes. Holy smokes, that is 18 monks on the field. Trap war is actually happening over here. There is apparently something being built over here, which... Or it's not even built, I think it's a castle. We're gonna have to restart Capture Age to see what that actually is, because apparently we do have disappearing models. So, give me a moment to restart Capture Age. You can see the game going on while that actually is happening. But I'm just gonna restart Capture Age over here, so that we don't have disappearing models, and back we are. So that was actually a castle that eventually went down. There's Halberdiers already for Slam. Siege Ranger is in a couple of seconds, so those Mangudai will have a tough time microing against that. It looks like the right side is holding though. Cataphracts, they do have a reasonable amount of pierce armor against the Plumed Archers, and they do smash infantry, which could be something. I think the Cataphracts idea may have come from the fact that there is Halberdiers from Slam, and they thought that the Halberdiers will push in this direction. But if you actually dispatch those Cataphracts in this direction, that could actually be something. Onagers will make a quick work of those traps. Nolofinve is actually getting pushed pretty hard, but he's still 105 Vultures, which is reasonable, and he's gonna be able to get some light cav out. He's waiting for the light cav, so as scary as it looks like, it may not be that super scary. Because the plan, I think, here is that you unleash the light cav, try to snap down the monks. Also worth noting is that they want to open up the middle with siege rams from Barles, and Barles would actually push through the middle here with the Mangudai to get the kill on Slam's Eco. So it looks like they will actually take the Mangudai out from this combat, and they will dispatch it to push the middle, and the light cav will be tasked to hold against the monks and the onagers for the time being. On the northern side of the map, we do have increasing amounts of rat archers, which will be pretty nice against the plumes overall, but there's quite a lot of paladins as well, and I struggle to see the answer to mass paladins, especially with such an open eco. Paladins of I Am Zach running into the eco of Barles over here. And also, Nolofinve is losing quite a lot as he was trying to reboom over here, so they will have to fix this hole over here, otherwise Paladins will just run into their eco from time to time again. Let's see though. We are going to have the siege rams coming in here for Barles very soon. Once again, this castle shouldn't go down because that's a Mangrai production factory over here. Jerry, elite plumed archer coming in here with ring archer armor. The real question is that even if you clean this paladin blob up here, how are you going to prevent the next wave of paladins from running into your eco? And there is going to be halberdiers now on the front line, but the numbers aren't impressing me, and plumed archers will be relatively decent at dealing with those guys. Siege ram still 20 seconds away for Barles, but he's going to try to open up the front line. Siege archer will be the answer. From Slam, and he, I think, is gonna be able to hold this one. He's got fortified volt. Those are Ferrari rams already, but siege onagers should be able to deal with them to a certain extent. Big fight on the left side. Apparently Carapracts were brought in as well. That's what I was referring to. If you bring in a Carapracts, the halberdiers will all die, and now the light cav will be able to clean up the monks of Slugtarn. This was actually a relatively good engagement over here for Barles' team. They are taking down the monks, they're taking down the halberdiers, taking down very, very expensive siege weapons. And if you add it to the fact that the siege rams are pushing in the north, and it seems like there isn't enough onagers to get the kills before they get through the walls, and if you add the fact that on the north we also have a push coming in here because there is just not enough plumed archers from Jerry. You can see that he's on 2 castles, which is far from enough to mass produce the plumed archers. In this one, Barles' team seems like they're actually coming back into this one. They're still behind in score, but map position-wise, I'm starting to like their position more and more. There is also an onager cut over there, so they really want to get into the trade. They're also setting up their own trade over here. And the real question is, what are they going to do on the north? Because now they do have the upper hand on that front line. So other side, more and more Catapracts are coming in over here. So what I can do is sort of minimize my game for the sake of having a slightly better capture H performance. Capture H is not actually optimized for 4v4s right now, so in fact the capture H, I'm not sure if any of the capture H guys are here, but I think Mbrain said that he's actually impressed how well 4v4 is running right now in capture H. Anyways, we're gonna have a revol over here from I Am Zach. A single house isn't going to stop siege rams, but it buys some time for them. And the real question really is how much Catapracts can push the tempo bring out over here, because Catapracts would be amazing at dealing with both the pikemen from the Aztec player and the halberdier from Slam's position. It looks like we're gonna have a big counterattack on their side. Slam is bringing in the onagers, now Catapracts trying to get the snipes, so are the Trebs. But it looks like, if you look at the military numbers, once again Jerry's team is taking over. Trebs getting some shots on top of the plumed archers, but at the end of the day now, halberdiers are streaming in one by one, and there is enough plumed archers now to deal with the halberdiers, and the paladins will just take care of the rat archers. If the halberdiers can take care of the paladins, they will just go on the rat archers, or the onagers will go for them, and those are going to be some very, very expensive traps going down over here to the siege onagers. Those are 4 Celtic onagers with Celts, so those are extremely devastating. Down south, we do have I Am Zach coming in here with some cavalry to the other side as well. Middle is still open though. Mangudai running in here, intercepting the trade, and they want to run into Slugtarn's base. This would actually, if Slugtarn loses considerable amounts of eco over here, his monks will disappear from the field for some time because he's not going to be able to replenish them. And oh boy, I Am Zach is bringing in some villagers here too. That could be very, very devastating. Now, Slam's team is counterattacking the north, however, there is a lot of villagers going down. Obviously, at this late stage of the game, trade is going to be more important than villagers, but if you look at the 74 villager count for Slugtarn, that's a disaster for him. And as I said, he's going to be struggling to replace monks. That being said, this push is still going on. And Nolofinve, I think the only difference between the two teams now is that military numbers are better for Jerry's team, but much, much better eco. 130 villagers lead for Barles' team, and they are in the trade, whereas the opponent isn't actually pushing their trade, and that's a very, very significant difference over here. So there's a much, much more reliable gold income right now for Barles' team, and the fact that Slugtarn is down to 78 Voyagers means that there is little that he's gonna be able to do to replenish all those monks that will be lost on the field. Plumed Archers will be dispatched to destroy this army, but that leaves the north a little bit more exposed, and the next wave of Cataphracts is almost there to deal with that. Light Cavalry, however, remember that there is a hole in the middle now. In fact, because Nolofimbe has a market over here, his trade carts are coming from this direction, they need to plug this hole in like ASAP, because this leaves a quite significant portion of their eco exposed. They will just wall this off here in the middle for the sake of safety. They want to control this choke point for now. Slam still flooding the Halberdiers over here, and there is a lot of monks on the field still, so Mangudais are actually really in the danger of being converted. We'll see if it's actually worth it for Barles to send in a lot of his Mangudai to raid the eco. I would think yes, but there is still the problem of Slam and Jerry having an insane army. Meanwhile, we'll have a big push here on this side. Onager is getting some good shots out, but Cataphract, especially with Logistica, they will be able to deal with those Plumed Archers relatively easy. And we have an Eagle switch coming in here from Jerry. Interesting decision, because Cataphracts will eat Eagles. Now the Mangudai will be cleaned up, and that's a concern for Barles. He's at 30 military only, and when you're playing Mangudai, you pretty much want to preserve your numbers. He actually took the gamble of pushing into the eco of the opponent, and they do have a 120 Voyagers lead, but they are outnumbered 2-1 in terms of military, 650 population against 650, but all the extra population that Barles' team is having in terms of eco is in army right now for Slam's team. Bombard towers coming in here for Zastoshi, and that could make sense over here. They're actually having a pretty nice push on the north, and they could try pushing this corner where all the trade is for Slam's team, and I think the Mangudais here will still be reasonable to hold this choke point for some time. We have this one cleaned up over here. There is more Plumed Archers coming in for Jerry, but Barles' team desperately needs more army, especially Nolofimbe. He has had to reposition his entire eco over here, so obviously he's not going to be able to contribute immediately. But Cav Archers or potentially Hussars, now he's getting Bloodlines, would be extremely helpful, potentially just to supplement this push over here on this side. So it looks like we're gonna have forward siege, or what is that, forward bracks for Halberdiers. Bombard towers will soon be a thing. We already researched bombard towers, it's just a matter of pulling the Voyagers to get those up. Other side, more and more Plumed Archers on the way. I think the Onagers may be thinking about cutting through over here. I would think that Barles has to pull his Voyagers from this side. He's getting some siege workshops out, potentially for his own Onagers. Nomads, tech that you don't see very frequently overall, but basically what Nomads does is that if you delete houses or lose houses, you don't lose the population from them. In such a scenario, it's actually nice, because you can delete your houses for more space to clean up the trade whatsoever, and it's not an expensive technology, so Nomads here makes quite a lot of sense. Here's the big cavalry push, Onager is getting the shots out, and Light Cav flanking from the other side. This is the fight. This is the fight, I think, for Barles' team. They are bringing in everything they got, and I think the Onagers are getting some very nice hits on the Mangudai. Onager still alive. I don't think that this number of Paladins is gonna be, or Cataphracts is gonna be enough to clean up everything over here. So that is pretty much a status quo. The problem is that they are still being outnumbered 2-0. They didn't take or didn't have an as good engagement as they wanted it to have, and it's only 11 Mangudai, and that is a disaster right now. Like, when you're playing Mangudai, you need good numbers. It's all about preserving those Mangudai numbers, and slow and steady Slam's team is taking over in this one. Mangudai trying to go in and snipe the trebuchets, but they might eat another big Onager shot. Monks are trying to get some conversions in, and remember that even with Heresy, those monks are just converting Mangudai after Mangudai over here. Another wave of cavalry though. And remember that the eco for Jerry's team isn't as strong as the eco for Barles' team. So even though Barles' team isn't taking the best engagements ever, their eco is much more sustainable, including the trade count as well. So that is also worth considering. But still, this push is going on Apparently Trebs are just targeting the siege workshops right now. Mangudai picking off the Trebs now. Another wave of light cav as Nolo Fimbe joins the fight with the light cav. But on the north, things are falling apart because they had to pull basically resources from free players to fight against 2 here on the south. And the Plumed Archer numbers are actually pretty impressive from Jerry over here. Well, the overall numbers aren't great, it's 44. And only 38 of them is actually Plumed Archers. But there is enough Plumes over here to help out, and there is enough Plumes over here to help out, so it's not an awful lot of Plumes, but it seems like it's a lot more than what it actually is. Because it is able to influence the game on both front lines. That's the thing over here. Bombard Towers will still be able to hold this position. It looks like Barles is gonna go for his own Siege Onager. Eagle Warrior switch coming in here from Jerry. But as I said, the thing is that Eagle Warriors will get eaten by Chiropracts, and the Bombard Towers are still holding. Light Cavs pushing in here as they're losing ground. They need to stonewall this one off, because this is all the choke point that they're wanting to hold. Also, I don't like that Barles hasn't pulled his Vultures from here right now, because these Vultures are more than exposed, and he needs a reliable wood income. He's waiting for Siege Hunters, but remember, this is why Aztecs are so good on Black Forest. Aztecs with Redemption, block printing, and the upgrades, they will just convert all the Siege Onagers, and that's the real danger over here that you are taking. Right now, Halberdiers apparently is the name of the game for Jerry. Not sure why, because the Chiropracts will just eat those anyways. But yeah, I feel like Slam's team is inching closer and closer to victory, basically. Because this front line is not something that Zastoshi can push right now, and Slam's team is getting closer and closer to the trade of their opponents. In fact, they're now threatening the castles that are acting as the Mangudai production factories, and you can see that Barles is struggling to sustain a good production of Mangudai because he doesn't have the castles. Like, he has a bunch of Mangudai queued up on all of his castles. This one is idle for whatever reason, but he needs way better Mangudai numbers for this one. Also, that's a true thing indeed in the chat, that Barles' trade is going from this corner to this corner, which is not perfect. Slam's team has a near perfect trade over here, going through all the map. That's a lot of light cap though from Nolo Fimbe, which we have to consider. Slam's team is bringing 125 gold per trip on those trade cards. Barles' team is only 89, so almost a 50% extra, and the Bombard Towers will now melt to an overwhelming amount of siege rams. Jerry's playing extremely good here as well, and it seems like, as I said, as much as they're holding the south, I don't think they are pushing the north if you're actually looking at Barles' team. And that's the main concern. But guess what? We do have Vietnamese men-at-arms on the field in post-Imperial to deal with the Halberdiers, soon to be longswords, and they are so good in terms of quality that Capture Age completely makes them disappear. There's actually longswords on the field. I hope that the Capture Age guys will fix this bug in the future, that there is just units disappearing. They're actually on the field, believe me. It's not uncommon in the Capture Age that things disappear, things reappear. Sometimes you have to restart Capture Age for that. But anyways, that's a lot of Hussars. That's an awful lot of Hussars, and if they can actually hit the monks, that's gonna be very expensive for Slugton to replenish. The first very good fight, I would say, for Nolo Fimbe's team over here. They are actually taking very good engagements here. So, they will clean up the traps, they will clean up most of the forces from Slam, and now the military numbers aren't looking that bad for either side anymore. There is longsword somewhere in the field here. We'll see if there is a peaceful moment, like just a moment of, you know, truce where there is not actually insane fighting going on. Big onager hit could actually happen. Then I'm gonna probably restart Capture Age again so that you can actually see the longswords. Heavy Scorpion being tagged into by Jerry. Jerry is going for all techs here. He already has fully upgraded Eagles, fully upgraded Plumes, he's got Siege Ram, he's got Hubs. He's going for Scorpion now. He's pretty much tasked with the responsibility of stopping Zastoshi over here, while the rest of the guys finish the south. And it looks like we're gonna have more and more Paladins from Iamzak pushing the south. It used to be push on the north from those Paladins, but now it's actually push on the south. And there is still a massive military number advantage for Jerry's team. It's a constant 50%. Extra military for the opponent. Now we have camos, so we're going to see Tatar heavy camos on the field. Not sure what to think about that, because there is an overwhelming amount of Garland War pikemen and halberdiers, so camos may not be the best choice over here. Paladins now moving in over here. There is some cataphracts to respond to that, but this game actually might go very, very long here, because finishing off the player that possesses the Mangudai is gonna be pretty tough, even though monks are doing their best to do that. But big onagers coming in at Ferrari onagers are actually pretty hard to kill with monks, because they can sort of run away from getting converted. And there is some beautiful onager hits here from Barles. He's really doing everything he can. Elite Step Lancer now for Nolofinve, so he wants to bring in some gold units in here. Not sure why, because Nolofinve actually has 0 villagers on gold. Obviously he's got some trade running, which is not shown over here, but it's not like he's floating a lot of gold. I would have thought that if he techs into Elite Step Lancer, then he's floating like already at 2000 gold, but it's like, you can see his gold count isn't amazing, so it's not like he can really afford an overwhelming amount of those. Bombardier is gonna be somewhat helpful dealing with the paladins over here, but now Zastoshi, he's only at 43 military and he's facing off against a lot of paladins, soon to be onagers, and there is a big onager cut coming up in the north to end this stalemate, and Eagle Warriors running in now. They desperately need cataphracts to this front line. There is quite a lot of cataphracts over here, so the cataphracts could come in and clean that one up, but they have to clean it up as finally Barles' team is pushing back on this front line. Onager is getting some very, very good hits, but meanwhile Zastoshi is going to start losing a lot of eco, and this is the trade. This is the trade, guys. If the Eagles start rampaging this one, that's over, and it looks like Push the Tempo isn't reacting in time, or it's Zastoshi not telling him yet, or I don't know what's up with this, but they have to stop this ASAP, because that's their trade, that's Zastoshi's eco, and if that gets crippled, this flank collapses completely, and they haven't had a decisive advantage on the other flank to compensate for this flank being completely torn apart. Zastoshi is going down to 104 eco overall, as the cataphracts are still busy fighting the rams in the middle, instead of actually being dispatched to deal with the Eagle Warriors that are running around. Ornlu, thanks for the raid. Thank you so much, everybody who is just joining in. Welcome. Hope you had a nice stream in the arena tourney. So we are casting Black Forest over here. This is the semifinals of Drunken Forest over here, and just before you arrived, there was a huge onager cut over here from Jerry, and as I said, I feel like Push the Tempo underreacted that one with the cataphracts. Military numbers are still close, but like these cataphracts need to clean up the eagles, and there's still a bunch of plumed archers over here as well. Rattan archers now coming in to clean this one up, and for a long time Slam's teams was actually pushing Barles' team over here. Now it seems like Barles' team is actually able to at least force a stalemate here. Onagers somewhat being mismicroed over here, but still getting some nice shots out. Other side, I think the real problem that Barles' team is facing right now is that they are holding the south and they're sort of holding the north, but they aren't pushing, and that's a problem. And as we discussed, the trade is much longer for Slam's team, so overall the efficiency of their trade is gonna be better, and that's gonna translate into more and more resources. Can you see the trade card number somewhere? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think that there is a specific trade card number allocated. I think the original plan in Capture Age was to show it as a gold miner, but it's not something that is showing right now, unfortunately. So yeah, like, they are holding this one, and they are holding this one, but are they actually pushing forward? No, and now Slugtarn so far has only been playing with monks to convert the onagers, but now he's switching into Garland War Eagles and once again just running into the eco, and Jerry's team has consistently had more and more army compared to the opponent, always had a 50% lead. Now it's almost 100 military advantage over the opponent. Obviously some of that is plumed archers, but they are actually still a very good unit, and now we're getting to the real slideshow part of this game. As I said, Capture Age and, well, even Definitive Edition is not actually meant to... Well, it is meant to play 4v4s, but it is not actually optimized to do so. So... Well, it is Slideshow. By the way, this is not on my side. This is not Capture Age lag. This is from the players. Because the way that you know that is that Capture Age isn't eating a lot of system resources still for me. Which means that it's not Capture Age, you know, not having enough system resources on my computer. This is actually the players. Like, one of the players probably has a somewhat weaker computer that is going to start lagging in post-Imperial. So the real concern now is that it's almost double the military, and now the Mangudai factories are being exposed to the Trebs. And if this castle goes down, I feel like Slam's team is going to grab this victory. Even maybe without that, because now they're actually inches away from the trade. And on the south, I don't see anything that Barles' team could do to counterattack this one in a reasonable amount of time. There is efforts to do that. That's actually a very, very nice find with the Hussars hitting the onagers from Zach. But on the north, things are falling apart. We have a 14 army only for Zastoshi. Zastoshi is about 90 population. Now, 16 army only for Nolofinvi as well. And Barles has 26 Catapracts, but they are needed, like... Catapracts are trying to clean this one up, but Plumes are actually reasonable against Catapracts. And on the other side, it's only 37 Mangudai. That's also a concern. So, in fact, it's only 30 Mangudai, which is not that much, and indeed trade going down. I feel like this onager cut was the one that sealed the deal, because Barles' team was more or less holding this crossing, but they weren't prepared for an onager cut over here. That being said, I feel like Barles' team actually played this one a little bit too greedy. The entire game they were behind the military. They never actually had huge numbers. Like, at some point, Barles' team had like 20 military, and they were actually pushed with like 25 paladins and a bunch of plumed archers. So they somewhat underestimated, or maybe they just thought they have a little bit more time. They went for two pockets that both need an insane amount of time to get their good army numbers going. Like, Mangudai take a lot of time to tech into. Same thing with the Catapracts. You need the castles, you need a strong eco, and Byzantines don't have an eco bonus. So you need to get a very, very good villager count up with Byzantines to start getting Catapracts, whereas the opponent, he just went for, okay, Kuman boom. He even had a fishing pond over here. And then just went for paladins, and that already opened up the front line in a way that, like, I think because they were behind in military numbers at the beginning, they lost control over this choke point. That was the key. This choke point fell so fast that Nolofinvi got pushed pretty hard. This was all Nolofinvi's base. This was his starting TC spot somewhere around here. But this actually collapsed very fast, because they were behind in military numbers, and from that point on, Nolofinvi had to always relocate. He never really had a great army himself. He had the numbers, but it wasn't really about the quality ever. And I think this onager cut at the end came in clutch. And Slam's team is going to take game number 1. Okay. So we're gonna go back to the lobby over here and add a score to Barles. No, not Barles, but Slam. Steam over here. And we will take a look at the draft in a matter of moments. So let's get to that. We will have Cumans, Aztecs, Celts, and Mayans taken out. Look at that. Pick number 2, pick number 4, 6, and 8 were the ones that that were used over here by Slam's team. Mongols, Byzantines, and Tatars are gone, and so are Vietnamese. So Let's take a look at the remaining civilizations. I feel like Slam's draft is a little bit more balanced. I love the Italians pick, for example. They have Lithuanians available. They have Teutons available as a pocket civilization. Khmer is also available for them. Other side, Turks can be a fun one to think about. Pocket-wise, I feel like they're a little bit low. I would think that it's going to be Gothic Pocket in one of the games. But it's a best of three, so they have to bring their best civilizations over here. I could make an argument for Spanish now, because if this game goes long, then you could completely justify Spanish trade. That could be something that decides the game. So something like even Spanish flank could be something that makes sense, but I could see Spanish pocket working out as well. Gothic pocket potentially, and maybe something like Turks and Portuguese flanks or Korean flank. Koreans could also play pocket if they want to and play war wagons. Okay, I will also restart Capture Age because Capture Age does have the tendency of having a pretty bad performance when it comes to jumping into the games after you have already casted one. So let's go for that. And we are ready for the next game over here. So, well, as I said, we're just gonna wait it out. And go for game number 2. Let me open up DE. And let's see if we have a game. So, with that, let's take a look at the next game. So, the winner of this game is going to, or winner of this series is going to be playing in the grand finals against either Doubt's team or Modri's team. And it looks like this is just a bug lobby, so we don't have game number 2 up just yet. The tournament is a winner takes it all, so the entire $3,100 of a prize pool will be going into the hands of the winning team. So even if you lose in the semifinals, you're going to get absolutely nothing. So there is a huge motivation from the teams to get into the finals and actually win the finals over here, because it is winner takes it all, a format that I don't usually like, but I feel like for team game formats like this, especially for this prize money and like the way that this tournament looks like, I think this is actually pretty reasonable over here. Because if you would actually do like reasonable prize splits, let's say winner gets something, a certain share, loser of the finals gets a certain share, semifinalist gets a share, you are gonna end up with I don't know, even like you probably wouldn't even be able to give a reasonable amount of money for quarterfinalists, because um like you give, let's say, 40% to the winner, 25 to the second place, but already 25% to the second place would be something like $700, which would be like $100 per person, which isn't a huge amount of money when it comes to how much you can earn from competitive play when you are like a big player. So I think one of the reasons why there is so many high level players in this one is because it's winner takes it all. So if they actually win, they will get a pretty reasonable amount of money instead of getting a rather small amount. Anyways, I'm gonna be back in a moment, so I'm gonna bring in something to drink and then we'll continue. All right, so back we are, and we are gonna have game number. It looks like they also switched servers, so I wonder if one of the players actually had a lag, or maybe just forgot to switch the server. Like they went for default in this one. Now they're playing East US, which is a little bit surprising to me because Barles, Zastoshi, Push the Tempo, Nolo Fimbe, they are all Europeans. Jerry, I think, is American. I am Zach is American. Slugtarn is Swedish. And Slam is Canadian. So this is sort of favoring Slam's team a little bit, but it's somewhat surprising we're seeing East US server being used. But it seems like that was actually handpicked because Barles is the lobby host, and Barles wouldn't have a default server of East United States. Anyways, we are gonna have. I'm going to show off the civilizations over here. So we don't need Capture Age for this. Give me a moment. We will be casting using Capture Age in the upcoming games as well, of course. So there is no major surprise about that. But what we're going to have over here in game number 2 is Barles going for Goths. There is going to be Nolo Fimbe going for Spanish flank, so it's going to be a Conquistador or Tower play in Feudal. Other side, we are going to have Zastoshi with Britain's flank. And last but not least is Push the Tempo playing as a Slavic pocket. So they do have only one Paladinsive, and that is actually playing flank. Other side, we're going to have Jerry playing as the Lithuanian's pocket. Slam is going to be playing Ethiopian... No, Jerry is playing Lithuanian's flank. Now, this is interesting, and I wonder if they actually screwed up the color selections. Because I would think that Ethiopian's Burmese flank and Teuton's Lithuanian's pocket makes more sense. But it looks like we'll have Ethiopian's pocket, which is sort of possible. So if this is intentional, then the plan is that Lithuanians could potentially do a monk play. They're actually pretty good with those. Later on, they can go for paladins. That's not a big deal. But early on. And you could have Ethiopians playing the role of a siege onager civ. The other option is that they just screwed it up big time. But yeah, Burmese flank. Burmese could also open like Men at Arms towers into a castle drop or run by play. That could be something that gets considered over here. But we will jump into this game. So let's go. Welcome everybody, this is gonna be game number 2 in a best of 3 in between Barles' team and Slam's team. We'll have on the right side of the map Barles' team in the Drunken Forest semifinals. We will have Nolo Fimbe playing red Spanish flank. We are going to have the other flank being orange Zastoshi in Britain's. Pockets will once again be pushed to tempo in purple as Slavs and Barles as yellow Goths. The first thing I'm noticing is that we are going to have a crossing where once again Jerry is pulling a lot of Voyagers, the exact same thing that he has done at the beginning. Let's see if he has Loom. He has Loom already, and so does Zastoshi. This matchup was the same in the previous game as well. It was Zastoshi on the flank and Jerry on the other side. The difference now is that it looks like Jerry might not be able to get his walls up as conveniently as before. Previous game, they just got those walls up very, very early on. Looks like Zach is bringing in a scout here as well. And it seems like Jerry doesn't really want to go greedy over here, just wants to get those walls up. I remember that Feudal or Dark Age walls have been nerfed, so these guys can actually break through over here. And we have another scout coming in here from Push the Tempo as well to take this engagement. This is usually how Black Forest starts. Right side, it's worth noting that it looks like Nolo Fimbe is going to be having an uninterrupted time getting the walls up. They want to keep these open, I believe, now. And there is a Voyager killed from Jerry. And will we see a scout going down as well? That's actually very, very good for Zastoshi. And it's so good that he could actually consider sending sneaky villagers through. Because that would be more than reasonable. It looks like he just wants to wall this one off here. We're seeing so many passive, or sort of passive Dark Ages from teams in this tournament so far. I haven't seen a single sneak. We have one big patch of wood in the middle, which is worth noting. And it looks like it is Nolofimbe who's going to build all the walls over here. In fact, double layer walls on this side. Looking at the other team, as it looks like we'll just end up with walls on both sides. On this flank, we'll have Lithuanians flank for Jerry in blue, which is a little bit surprising. Burmese flank for Stucktarn in gray, not so much. We do have an Ethiopian pocket for Slam. Ethiopian Burmese combination on the right side is going to be interesting to look at. And Imzak is playing Teutons as green pocket. So it looks like both teams will be walled off for now, but worth noting that Slugtarn isn't really walling his side either. He's just giving the opportunity for the opponents to potentially sneak villagers through, and like sneaks could definitely be a realistic thing in this scenario. Now, I like these walls because this prevents a villager from sneaking through here, which makes some sense, but I feel like Slugtarn isn't really committing much to walling his side, and that could be punished by a sneak at some point. That was the same thing in the previous game as well. Looking at the boards, as we have no base with the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much for the sub. Welcome. I appreciate your support. Thank you. So boar is coming in right now for Jerry. We do have a patch of neutral boars over here, which could be taken. No one is actually going for it right now. And we also have a patch over here, which could once again be taken by whoever wishes to. There is 2 pawns on the side of... Actually, there's 3 pawns on the side of Slam's team. And they're using 2 out of the 3. It looks like Slugtarn isn't really willing to go for water. But what he's willing to go for is to bring in what I think is 2 neutral boars, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that both of his boars were there. Yeah, there is a third boar over here, so he's actually doing a double lure, and he will be successful doing that. That's actually a pretty tough thing to pull off. Very nicely done by Slugtarn. He's gonna be having 2 extra boars, which is an excellent start with Burmese. I would think that based on this, I wouldn't be surprised to see a fast castle drop around by play, and 2 extra boars can support that very, very well. His hunt is also relatively close to the mill, so you don't really need to push this one in. You can just send out a couple of villagers and they can drop off the food at the mill anyways. Other side, what else do we have? We'll have quite a lot of villagers on berries from Zastoshi, which is worth monitoring. 5 on berries is alright, but a little bit surprising in this scenario, especially because there is no extra boars on this side here, so it makes sense to have 5 on the berries. For him, I thought they have some extra boars. There is a patch of extra boars over here, and a very, very nice mining camp spot could be here as well for push the tempo. He has 1 pawn. That's the only pawn on their side of the map, so I would be tempted to say that I like the map generation a little bit better for Slam's team. However, for example, these 2 patches of boars could also be taken, and also I feel like one thing I like about Barles' team's maps is that they have a lot of resources at the back. Like this one is safe, this one is safe. A lot of gold and stone at the back, which can be very helpful in case you get pushed. So, yeah, trade will be better for Slam's team. Yeah, that's true. You won't be able to trade to this corner because this passage is very, very small unless you onager cut it. But you can still do from this corner to this corner. Actually, if you onager cuts through here, if you're Barles' team, then you can actually do markets over here to markets over here. That would be a more efficient trade. Anyways, it looks like we're gonna have men-at-arms and towers. Technically, with the extra boars that Slugtarn had, I would have just preferred a normal fast castle. However, it is pretty frequent on Black Forest that you open man-at-arms and towers. Burmese man-at-arms will get +1 attack, because that is their Civ bonus. And the reason why you're going towers is because you will be on stone anyways. So if you play this right, you can actually press on with your towers and man-at-arms, and then whenever possible you can just click up to castle, and you should be having enough stone for a castle relatively soon. For now, Nolofinve is actually going House Walls. Remember that he's going for a fast castle, which means that as long as he's not in feudal, he cannot stonewall. The best way to defend against this one would be stonewall defensive tower. However, as I said, until you don't reach feudal age, you're not gonna be able to get a stonewall up, so this could be tricky for Nolofinve, because those metals will actually chew themselves very easily through those houses. So yeah, you're gonna have to repair that. I don't think that this tower can actually range the villagers behind the house, so that is fine. But you will at least have 2 idols repairing a house, and it seems like they are gonna be able to keep that one alive for a time being. Other side, it looks like we have a double tower rush. Both flanks going for it. Lithuanians don't have a very great man-at-arms tower rush, but one thing that you can use is that you start with a little bit of extra food, which helps you get a 4th man-at-arms out potentially, maybe get man-at-arms a little bit faster. At the end of the day, it seems like we had a tower up here as well from Zastoshi, and now he's going for archers. This could be tricky. As I said, I feel like there is an opening here, right? Yeah, there is definitely an opening. Archers are gonna be just marching through. How did Jerry not have this one walled off? That was surprising. Because now the archers can march through, and that's gonna be a disaster for Jerry. How is he gonna defend against just 4 archers here? Because the pockets can't help. Pockets are doing full boom. The other flank can't help. Now it's Stonewall's nice defense from Nolofinve, and that is a disaster. Like, you're gonna wall off your wood line, but you're already off from gold. It's not like you have a super safe gold mine, and if Zastoshi commits to this one and marches in over here, that's gonna be jackpot. This is going to force archer range from Jerry for a couple of skirms, but I think the damage has already been done as we have a 1 FPS capture age over here. So I think the real damage is gonna be done when these... Excuse me. I had to sneeze, so I had to mute my mic. So, when these archers hit Amzag, that's gonna be jackpot, and I am not sure if the original plan was to go for double stables here. In fact, I am fairly certain that wasn't part of the plan to go double stables at the beginning of the game. They are gonna have some wall-offs in the middle, so there is no units crossing from the right to the left. An interesting TC spot for Barles over here. I have no idea why he's dropping it over here, to be honest. This is gonna be interesting to take a look at, and it seems like Slacktown wants to keep pushing this one with the men-at-arms. But for now, Nolofinve is actually doing a pretty nice job defending against that with the stone walls. Scouts do not have any extra armor, I believe, right now, and that is indeed true. There is not even a blacksmith from Imzak, but luckily for Zach, archers ran through TC fires, so there wasn't really that much damage done by these archers. These could have been a lot more dangerous. That being said, we have skirms coming out from the flank. Men-at-arms are chasing as well. Free TC boom from Slam over here. Free TC as well for Barles. Push the Temple is only playing 1 but adding new TCs rather soon. And I'm somewhat surprised that Nolofinve is not actually doing a defensive tower here. A defensive tower would completely prevent this push. And he's taking his back stone, which is fine for now, but if he loses control over the stone mine, that could be a disaster for the Spanish player, because you want to go conquistadors. It looks like the archers have been cleaned up, or at least they will be cleaned up very soon by the knights. So this archer push didn't do that much from Zastoshi. And now the next question is, when is he gonna get to Castle Age? He's not far away resource-wise, he's still missing quite a lot of food though. We'll have Slugtarn clicking up right now. And if you look at Slugtarn's resources, he's at 7 villagers on stone, 320 stone. That should be enough for a castle drop almost immediately when he reaches the Castle Age. He might even be able to squeeze in a castle somewhere around over here. Gilnet's coming in here from Push the Tempo, so he's gonna have an insane fishing eco here in the pocket, something that is worth monitoring. He is sitting on 12 fishing ships. We only have 5 from Imzak. Slugton also went for a couple of fishing ships for 5, and also we have a couple for Slam. Left side, for now, we're just gonna have towers because it looks like there is going to be a man-at-arms skirmisher counterattack over here by Jerry. This tower should be able to stop them without any major problems. And here is the deal. As I said, if you lose this stone mine, you're gonna be in trouble, and Nolofimbe only has 1 villager on stone. What is the plan here? Why is he not adding a tower? I don't get this. If he had a tower behind, these units wouldn't be able to bash their way through those walls. Now he's getting a barracks out, and it looks like he's given up on his idea of going conquistadors. But the fact that that stone is locked away from him is not something I'm particularly happy about. And what am I even talking about? He's going to drop a castle, but he's going to be over here. This is a very interesting decision. And a very risky decision. If he actually is able to hold this push over here for now, then this castle is great because it's going to be at the side where Slugtarn is going to be very open. There is double layer stone walls here, but it's not impossible to get through them. And if you get through these, it's very easy to hit Slugtarn's base right away. Whereas here, there is double layer stone walls as well, but this is a narrow choke point, it's much easier for Slugtarn to hold. However, if Slugtarn is able to get through here and potentially do damage, then this castle may actually end up being a bad decision. There is 4 TCs for Barles. They are having a slight village lead over here, Barles, and Push the Tempo having a great boop. And you can see that because Zach had to go for a couple of knights and stables here, he's gonna be behind in terms of TC numbers, just dropping TC number 4, and only on 57 villagers. Somewhat similar is the case for Jerry, who had to defend quite a lot. Archers will come in and completely ignore the men-at-arms. They want to march in once again, and let's see if that villager is going to be able to get the wall up. Not really. And when Castle Age hits, those crossbows will be much more devastating, unless they get killed by men-at-arms, which shouldn't really happen. Anyways, you could actually make an argument for a petard. Indeed, Nolofimbe is coming in here with petards. There is knights already out for Imzak, but I feel like the reason why I like this push from Nolofimbe is because this forces the pocket to go for knights, so he can't just go full boom. That being said, there is still going to be 5 TCs for Imzak, but it's more about the fact that he has to invest into some knights over here, whereas the boom for Push the Tempo and Barles are completely untouched. We are gonna have what appears to be 3 additional TCs being dropped by Jerry, as well as a siege workshop to prevent the crossbows from doing any additional damage. Here come the petards, and they just want to go for a second layer, blasting their way through. We're going to have Imperial Age from Slugtarn once again go for monks. This is something that he sorted in the previous game as well. If you remember that, he went for basically a faster Imperial Age and went for monks. He wants to repeat the same strategy. In this case, it's a little bit different though, because he's getting pushed by Castle units, and here's the problem. Slugtarn is going into Imperial, and his grand plan is that he's going to be using the traps to take down Nolofimbe's castle. However, there's already barracks coming out for Barles. It's only 95 villagers, that's not an awful lot, but you don't even need an awful lot to start doing the Huskars. And I wouldn't like Petard being used up against Palisades. That's wasteful. That's so wasteful. I like that Zach is rolling behind with multiple layers of stone walls. That's exactly what he should be doing here. Anyways, it looks like Zastoshi is also gonna go for the greedy 4 TC boom over here. So Slugtarn is only playing 1 TC. Once again, Barles' team is gonna have the eco advantage. So they already have a 30 villagers lead. TC-wise, all of their players have at least 3 town centers, but basically with the exception of Nolofimbe, everybody has 4. And the real question is, what can Slugtarn do to stop this push right now? He's getting monks out, but I'm not sure how much you can actually do to stop the Gothic flood. It's not going to be a huge flood at the beginning, and one thing is sure, there is going to be 3 castles solidifying this position over here. So especially with Slam reaching Imperial as well, this castle is not gonna stay up for long. So you have to keep this one in mind. Like, this one is going to be very, very open. If Nolofimbe isn't paying attention. Left side is rather peaceful for the time being. Everybody is just booming and then going down each other's walls. So, let's see, Men-at-Arms and Squires. So it looks like we're not going to have Huskars, we're going to have Champions over here from Barles with Gods. He's almost up to Imperial. First to Imp is Slugtarn, soon followed by Slam and I'm Zach. The only player who is not up is Jerry, and it's going to take forever for him to get up to Imperial because he's still very far in terms of resources. Now, other side, we will have Imperial H only 2 players, and both Nolofimve and Zastoshi are pretty far away from Imp, so it's going to be 3 players in Imperial against only 2. And indeed, most of the conks have been cleaned up. There is 0 Conquistadors for Nolofimve, so this Conquistador push didn't do much. And as I said, this is still a point of concern. It's more concerning that now this castle is dangerously exposed. If this castle was here, for example, it would be much harder to trap it down. And now this castle is something that they have to give up on. It's going to be 3 against 2 in terms of Imperial Age players, so they'll have to count on the Gothic player to do insane damage. We'll see if you're going to have that accompanied by Onager cut. Jerry's team once again outnumbering the opponent massively in terms of military count. But one thing that we have to consider is that push the tempo. He can actually play with Slavic Onagers and Halberdiers, which could be crazy. And it seems like that's going to be the plan. They will try to isolate Jerry and just steamroll him. That's basically the plan, because Nolofimbe is going to be in the need for some time to become a factor in this one, as there is perfusion coming in for the infantry, 200 swordsmen as well. Anarchy wasn't researched, so that's going to be pure 200 swordsmen, halberdiers most likely over here. And here come the Rams. As I said, I feel like Nolofimbe might actually die here. But the real question is, who's gonna die faster, Nolofimbe or Jerry over here? Onagers, it looks like they are missing the shoot animation right now in Capture Rage. That's why they are disappearing when they are shooting. But there is gonna be an Onager cut. There will be Mangano as the response from Amzak. But those aren't Onagers yet. And Pikemen will start coming out. It looks like wars have been deleted as well. No worries. Okay, I think the best thing I can do here for you guys is to restart Capture Rage. I hope that they will fix this one, because this is indeed a little bit too much of a stealth. Sometimes it happens. Alright, so back we are. Halberdier is now in, and you actually see things. Fortified wall, that's why they disappeared. Fortified wall, I think, has a missing model in Capture Age. Petar trying to blast their way through. That's a lot of Halberdiers. The main problem is that Halberdiers aren't particularly great at, you know, completely destroying things. And now we're going to have Barles coming in here with swordsmen. Nolofimbe, look at this. This is a problem for them. Nolofimbe is right now running... what is that? There's basically his entire eco, 90 villagers that will be completely evacuated from this absolute carnage. And I feel like Nolofimbe is dying faster than Jerry is. Now, obviously, Barles could still hold this one, and we also have to consider that they have a 30 villagers lead, but that 30 villagers lead isn't going to be anything useful when you are just running for your life right now. Plus, they also lose the corner, so the corner for the trade at least is temporarily gone, and the Shoto warriors will actually be... Oh, the Shotos gets through. Oh boy, that's a disaster. Villagers fighting Shoto warriors is not something that you will want to see. And meanwhile, though, we have Halberdiers, the main concern, and we have Huskars. Now, Huskars are much, much better in that case, and as much as Nolofimbe is isolated from his teammates here, and he's gonna lose a lot, the same could apply to Jerry. The real question, however, is that as we have a very, very nice wall over here that prevents the units from flooding right into the eco, and they have to take the longer path, and we have Shoto warriors from Slam, and the Shotos will just eat the Huskars. That's actually a pretty good counter unit over here, because one of the things that Huskars have and swordsmen don't is speed. But Shotos actually have very, very good speed as well. So they're able to catch up very soon. It's cute to see these little house walls that are trying to stop siege rams. But this is looking worse and worse for Barles' team, despite the fact that they technically have the score lead. Another castle does go up, and we have Botkin in here as well. The real question is that if Barles can run into the eco of potentially Slam or Amzak, that's gonna be a game decider. But the thing is that as long as Slam is able to spam the Shoto Warriors, that's gonna be pretty tricky to fight against. So we'll see what Barles' team can do against that. They definitely want to cut through the middle here and send in the Huskars. The question is that, like, Jerry is 66 Villagers and still living. And Nolofimve is actually just rebooming. He's at 60 Villagers. Overall villager counts are now in the favor of Jerry's team once again. Military numbers are rather close, and with the Shoto Warriors going down, those Rams will be taken down as well, and that's gonna buy some time. Plus, it's a lot of resources going down the drain. And I think that now we have Huskars running around. Indeed, look at this. One Huskar could kill a lot of Villagers, or just a couple of Huskars on these gold and stone mines could kill a lot of villas if they want to bail the TC over there. Now they're trying to re-stonewall the middle, but in the meanwhile, we do have random Huskars running around, and Teutonic Knights. Last time I checked, Teutonic Knights aren't amazing at dealing with Huskars, not because they are actually bad at, you know, killing infantry, it's because they are a little bit too slow for this task. The thing is that one thing that you have to keep in mind is that Shotos are kind of fragile, so Onagers will actually have a pretty decent fight against them, and we have longbows. Zastoshi, indeed, we haven't talked about Zastoshi for quite a while. He wasn't contributing much with army, and now he's gonna get 4 castles up on the right side, so it's going to be all about him. And longbows actually are reasonable here, because the thing is that archers against Shotos would be somewhat troublesome, because the onagers from Ethiopians would actually kill you, but longbows will just pick off the onagers from a long distance. That's why they're called longbows. Now we have Lattice on the left side. Zastoshi has quite a lot of eco that is idle. Military numbers are still close, and this is actually a disaster for Slam. Slam is dropping a villager count very fast. Slam is dropping a villager count very fast, and just a couple of Huskars can cause so much carnage. And he has the Shoto Warriors. He's got 83 Shotos somewhere, but they're not back at home. And as much as he's pushing here with an overwhelming amount of Shoto Warriors, they die pretty easily. And if he loses his eco, and he did lose quite a lot of villagers, Slam is down to 95 vills, he's not going to be able to replace the Shotos. So as I said, as much as these Shotos are actually going to cause chaos, they die very easily, and replacing them is going to be tough. Even the castle is going to do pretty nicely against, just, you know, just dealing with the Shoto Warriors, because they're so fragile. And Slam has gone down to 92 villagers. Out of that, only 15 on gold and, well, still 43 on food, but just a couple of Huskars here would cause so much damage. And now it's Onagers here as well. We have Slugtarn joining in the party with Burmese elephants, but they're rather slow, and longbows will actually do a nice job as well against Slam Shotos. Slam is dropping down to 45 Shotos, and on the left side, we have non-existing buildings in flames. And look at these. This is so important for Barles' team right now, that Jerry is trying to expand towards these neutral golden stones, but they are actually being denied. Now these Huskars have been cleaned up, but Slam is down to 101 villagers, only 78 as well from Jerry. Overall villager counts are still rather close, and remember that the starting base of Nolofimve is in the hands of Slugtarn, which is something we haven't talked about. The primary gold, which was completely untouched by Nolofimve, is in the hands of Slugtarn. I feel like in order to win, for what Barles' team has to do is finish off Jerry here. They isolated this one, or this player, so much. So they have to actually make the finishing blow. Right now, it seems like they're actually working towards, you know, just chopping down all the wood that is possible in the middle. And it looks like we're gonna have more and more bracks so that they can just flood units into the eco of their opponents. And Slam is down to 48 Shotos, and you need the Shoto Warriors to deal with the Huskars. That's the problem, I think, that Slam's team is actually facing. That they need the Shoto Warriors on this side, but Slam is trying to push on this side. That is the main concern, that they're trying to push the right side, but without Shoto Warriors, they may not stop the left, because now there is push to tempo coming in here with Družinia Halberdiers, should be able to melt the Lattice. I'm not sure if there is a monastery anywhere. There is a monastery with 2 relics garrisoned inside, which could be something to consider as well. But there is already Capped Ram, soon Siege Ram from Push the Tempo. And if they can actually push the tempo here and start knocking down those castles, Jerry's gonna have nowhere to run, and quite a significant portion of his eco. Basically 50 villagers on this screen out of the 62 that he has. Other side, once again, these longbows will be pretty annoying when it comes to, you know, dealing even with the bombard cannons. The bombard cannons will be taken down by these guys, because these guys have 12 range, bombard cannons here have 13. Here come the elephants, but mass onagers. Now Nolofinve is actually adding halberdiers over here, which are perfectly fine for Spanish. I am somewhat skeptical about the performance of these longbows against that many elephants, but there's still onagers that can get some nice hits out, and if they actually fire at this choke point, that's gonna be brutal. Plus, the Gothic player can always mix in Hobbs. There is more and more Teutonic Knights from I Am Zack. I think what Slam's team is missing is I Am Zack adding in a lot of cavalry. In fact, there is going to be onagers on the right side, and they're setting up trade from this corner to... I don't even know where. They are going to trade from this corner to this corner or so. That's actually a little bit exposed, I would say. And here are the halberdiers. And as much as Shoros are great at dealing with Hobbs, it's all about Hobbs are just being spammed out here, and Shoros are just way more expensive than to throw them away against the halberdiers. So, with that, I feel like they can actually hold this one. The stone walls here are rather strong, and the longbows will actually be perfectly fine dealing with the shoulder warriors here, as you see, and the halberdiers will deal with the elephants. Other side, castles are still standing over here for both sides, but I feel like we're just missing a couple of siege rams from Push the Tempo, getting murder holes and hoardings for his own castles over here. And we technically have an opening here as well, so Huskars could try flooding in on this side as well. Overall military numbers, it's twice the army right now for Barles' team, and it's actually a pretty decent quality army as well. Obviously, part of that is the Gothic Flood, but we have a lot of traps that could have War Wolf. This castle is gonna melt in 5 seconds to 6 traps. There is longbows on the field, and longbows will be able to pick off the onagers here without major problems. And on the left side, now there is siege rams coming in, and as I said, it's 51 eco for Jerry. 32 of that is actually on this screen, which means that Jerry is gonna go down to basically 0 eco. And as much as Nolofinve was pushed in the beginning of this game, he's at 109 villagers and actually contributing military-wise with halberdiers, whereas Jerry is no longer able to contribute because his eco is so weak. So, let's see, middle, it looks like we do have... Look at this flood. Look at this flood right now from Barles over here, just flooding halberdier after halberdier. And the longbows are actually having a pretty nice resource retention rate here. So, the longbows here, especially Zastoshi, is having a very nice control over them. I also want to give a shout out to him because he's actually able to control those longbows on the right side very well, despite him being on the left side, so he has to pay attention to this one as well, so he's not getting graded or so. But it's 3 times the army now, more eco as well. Jerry's team at 550 population, almost pop-capped is Barles and his friends. They're trying to take as much gold away from this gold mine as possible, look at that. And that's going to be helping them. The question is, does it help enough? The other question is, was it a wise decision to set up your trade to this corner, which could have been pushed back? Obviously, you didn't have the option to set it up over here, but this one is a corner that where you're just gonna lose all your trade, or it's gonna be all idle, because Slam is sending in the shoulder warriors one by one, but they just get absolutely torn apart by longbows. And on the left side, as I said, 13 villagers only for Jerry. Jerry is pretty much gone from this game, all his eco is here, and it's not like this is safe. And indeed, Slam losing quite a lot of eco at the middle of the game was a huge thing, because that sort of stopped the flood of shoulder warriors for a brief moment, and that allowed Barles and Nolofinve and Zastoshi to hold this side. Had the Slam not lost that much eco, I feel like he could have actually contributed a little bit more short rolls at the crucial time, and they could have actually pushed through before these defenses were reinforced. But yeah, now there is going to be a lot of Voyagers going down here as well, and markets were deleted, but that means that all the trade is going to be idle. Left side, this is a cleanup, and now Huskars will be flooding in here as well. It's only 15 Voyagers from Jerry. He's got 8 of them over here, so those are gonna die. And now it looks like we have Huskars flooding through this opening, and they want to push this one as fast as possible. Look at that, they're not even waiting until this all is cleaned up. They just want to wall this one off, or well, not even wall this one off, but they just want to drop a castle over here and start pushing for the murder holes coming in from Nolofinvi here as well. And now if you're Nolofinvi, you don't have a lot of army, but I think this is the time where you go Supremacy and Bombard Towers, because that would help you push this side very, very well. Longbows will finally start killing the fishing ships as well. Once again, missing animations is not something that we are surprised about anymore. Huskars killing Voyagers here on this side as well. It's 500 vills against 400, 240 army against 80. This seems like we're going to an equalizer game. Gods looking extremely strong, and indeed, Slam's team taps out. I was scared that this is gonna be a clap, but it ended up being a very, very good series. So Barles' team strikes back for an equalizer, and all is gonna come down in the third game. As I said, indeed, I feel like it would have been a little bit sad for me if this one would have been a 2-0, but it's not over yet. I would like to give a shout out to Zastoshi because his longbow control contributed a lot. Barles' raids inside Slam's eco was actually pretty considerable as well. And yeah, that's basically it. Also, Nolofinvi actually did the right thing when he ran from his base, and he actually reboomed pretty nicely and was able to contribute very fast. That's something I also want to point out. That's actually a TC model that is missing. But he actually, despite the fact that he had to run all his eco to the other side, he was able to start getting fortified walls up pretty fast, getting halberdiers up pretty fast. So really, given the circumstances, he actually contributed quite significantly to this game over here. And it was a key thing that they could isolate Jerry from the rest of his team and finish him off, because that was the killing blow here, that Jerry's not going to be able to contribute anything to this game in the upcoming, I don't know, 2 hours, because Jerry's 16 Voyagers, out of that 9 is in that TC, and I don't even know where the other Voyagers are. They are here. So obviously Jerry was dead at that point. And all of him was always able to keep his Voyager number up. So even though he lost his starting base, he never really lost the Voyager numbers. Nolofinvi did receive 6,000 sling over here. What I was thinking about is that maybe he was considering slinging one of his teammates, because if you can't contribute much military-wise, but you have a good eco, you may still sling one of your teammates. But no, he was the one that received considerable slings from what appears to be Zastoshi, which makes sense. Zastoshi's army was having a very, very good resource retention, so you barely lost any longbows, so it makes sense that he's the one sending resources to Nolofinvi, so that he's able to get his eco back on track, and he's able to get some army out pretty fast. And with that, we will get into game number 3 over here. So tomorrow, we're going to have Team Doubt versus Team Modri. So that is going to be something that is worth looking into as well. What else? What else do we have? Let's see if we have a game. That's probably the best thing that we can do right now. Yeah, of course. We'll have Lords of the Arena Finals. When is Lords of the Arena Finals, though? That's a good question, right? I hope it's not overlapping with Black Forest. Do we know when the Lords of the Arena Finals are? 18 GMT after Doubt's Drunken Forest game. That's perfect. That's actually perfect. Then we're gonna cast that as well. So we'll open 18 GMT. Yeah, that means that after Drunken Forest. Oh wait, I can't. Oh no. Oh shoot, I can't actually cast that. I have to leave after the Black Forest series tomorrow. Oh man, that is annoying. Well, I guess like Viper was also casting. Well, Viper will definitely be streaming his POV on the arena tournament, and there will probably be others as well. So there will be somewhere to watch it, but yeah, I'm sad. I wish I was like. The more I cast, the more I wish I was actually full time. Like from one perspective, it is so good what Mem or Nilly can do that they can cast whatever tournament they have because they don't really have much else to do. Especially Mem, like when it comes to casting, because like Nilly may still have practices with the team whatsoever, Nilly may have coaching, but Mem is like full-time casting, and it probably feels so good for him that he's casting whatever he wants to. Nilly doesn't cast anymore. Nilly is going to cast tournaments. He's just not casting show matches. This is something that he said on stream. I want to make a video out of that, but this week has been like overly saturated with stuff. Like I have meeting after meeting, and really like even if I wasn't streaming today and tomorrow, my weekend would be fully stacked with stuff. So I'm like extremely overwhelmed right now for multiple things. Anyways, I'm gonna take a half a second bathroom break and then we'll continue because it seems like we don't have the game up just yet. All right. So we are gonna have game number 3 over here, or at least I hope so. We'll have game number 3. We don't have the lobby just yet, but one thing I didn't actually do is pull up the draft. So let me do that over here. So we will have Teutons gone, Ethiopians are gone, Lithuanians are gone, and the Burmese are gone. Other side, Barces team is losing Spanish, Britons, Goths, and Slavs. So From the early picks that they have had in their lineup, Koreans is still available. I think pocket is gonna be Persians, Franks, based on what we're seeing over here. Bulgarians could also be something that they consider, but Franks, Persians, pocket with Koreans, Turks, flanks feels like a very, very reasonable composition over here. Other side, Slaktarn has played monks in 2 games. I can see him doing something with Saracens. I would think that Italians is definitely something that will get considered here. Just so strong. Like Italians is almost a must pick over here. Pockets will probably be Khmer and maybe Berbers or Malians. They don't have any amazing pocket civs over here. And the other flank could be Inca, Malay, potentially. There is quite a lot of flexibility for Slam's team with that. All right. There is still no game. So I wonder if they're just taking a break or they just haven't set it up. Let me open it up. So there is the lobby code, and let's see if that actually is gonna work for us. Okay, they are setting up the game right now. They have everybody in the lobby, and it looks like we'll have the same 4 players from both teams here. So, as I said, you can actually substitute player number 3 and player number 4 out to another player from the same tier, but it looks like they will not have any substitutes, and they will just play with the same people in all of the games. Yeah, Khmer are actually great as a pocket safe here, so probably elephants is your first idea though when you're playing Khmer. That's what I would think. So even without anything else, I feel like elephants is the way to go. Where is the lobby at? I saw them in the lobby, but I'm not sure if they started yet, but the lobby did disappear from the lobby screen. So I wonder what is up. Do heavy scorps really destroy trees now? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that slinging with Khmer here is an idea. You need all players to contribute with army. All right, now we are gonna have the game up. So now they launched it. Let's go take a look at the civilizations. And you have some surprises over here. Barles is gonna be playing Bulgarian pocket, and we're not gonna have Franks. So Bulgarian and Korean pockets for Barces' team with a Japanese and Turkish flank. Based on the fact that the opponent has Italians, it makes some sense that you don't go for Franks. Korean pocket could be interesting. Just like as we had Shoal Warriors from Slam, Koreans actually have reasonable onagers, so that could be something that gets considered for push the tempo. Like Vorvag and onager is a very underrated combination. Japanese indeed could be good for halberdiers. Turks, very good civ overall, I would say. You can actually try a Castle Age push with that. Later on, it's going to be Bombard Cannon, Bombard Tower type of a civilization. I'm Zach, playing Khmer Pocket. Slam is going to be playing Saracens over there. Saracen Pocket, as I said, after Saracens were actually changed in the recent patch, Saracens are actually much more viable as a pocket civ. So we could see a lot of heavy camos coming in here, or the other option is that you get Mamelukes, which is going to be interesting to take a look at because Mamelukes are somewhat exposed to onagers. Slaktarn is playing Italians. He's going to be really tasked with the responsibility of keeping his Genoese crossbows alive, because the Genoese crossbows are the key to killing the Bulgarian cavalry. Genoese crossbows will be okay against war wagons as well. They will be okay against any cavalry, basically, and they also melt infantry. However, they have a short range, and onagers, especially Korean onagers that will have the extra range with the unique tech, can kill them very, very easily. And we haven't talked about Jerry, who's being Berber flank. Interesting. From what we have seen from Jerry so far, I would think that he's gonna go for the fast walls once again. After that, I don't know what he's up to. Could be camel archers most likely. Like late game, 4 camel archers, then Genoese crossbows, Saracen camels, and the Khmer elephant seems like a reasonable composition, because then you can actually test the camel archers and even Genoese crossbows with the task of killing the halberdiers from the opponent. Other side, it's probably gonna be something maybe in Castle Age from the Turkish player. It's hard to tell. War wagons most likely from push tempo, maybe supported by onagers. Barles is likely to be playing what is he gonna play? He's probably gonna play. He might actually go full conic, but I would think that it is more reasonable for Stirrups Cavalier. Anyways, so we're going to have Barces' team on the left side. Flank is going to be Zastoshi in Japanese and orange, and Nolofinve as Turks in red. Pockets will be the 2 strongest players of this team, Bars in yellow as Bulgarians, and purple push the tempo in Koreans. Other flanks will be Jerry in blue as Berbers, and we will have Slaktarn as grey in Italians. The pockets will be Slam as Saracens in teal, and Imzak will be the grey Khmer pocket. Once again, Jerry is doing the exact same thing that he's been doing, and he opens Loom directly, whereas his opponent didn't open Loom. And this is going to be an interesting position, because you also have the board out here. Scout Order comes in from push the tempo, and we had the same villager fight coming in here, just like in the previous game, but that is actually a misplay from Jerry, losing the scout over there. There is another scout coming in here, but keeping the scout alive is so crucial, and I would dare to say that this was a massive win here from Zastoshi. The winner of this game is the one that gets into the finals to play for the $3,000 prize money. Only the first player or first team gets any prize money in this tournament. We also have a sneaky villager coming in here. That's what they were actually waiting for. I'm not sure if Slam and Slaktarn have spotted this villager, and I wonder if this is here to lame or to sneak. You could actually use this villager to sneak, and I think that's the plan now. I was actually complaining about the lack of sneaks previously, and they actually saved the best for the last game. Obviously, they want to make sure that those scouts don't spot the villager, but you also want to keep your scouts alive over here, and I think that those scouts are actually going for the Vil. The question is what they can do against this one, and you can easily lose track of a villager you can very easily lose track of a villager. There is actually a huge amount of boars in the middle over here, and this villager is gonna get attacked by the wolf over here, which is not so great, honestly. So you have to think about the fact, indeed, that Turks will have the free light cav upgrade, so technically they could do like fast castle light cav play with a sneaky villager, and they are going for the pocket. The other option that you could do is like lame resources from the pocket. However, remember that everything is not revealed, but everything is explored. So the plan is that they want to kill the boar from Slam, but that was just a split second too late, and that hurt so much for Nolofinve. Had the lion not attacked him over here, that boar would have been in the hands of Nolofinve. That lion or tiger saved the day for Slam over here. Otherwise, he would have lost that boar. Anyways, now that villager is gonna get picked off because there is a scout coming back. Slam saw that, and this villager is gonna go nowhere. He's trying to save it, but that's not gonna happen. Not against Slam. So, sort of a bit of a luck as well for Slam, but also very nicely recognizing that there is going to be a sneaky villager over here. And really, as I said, if the tiger didn't attack the villager here, this villager would have gotten here earlier and Slam would have lost that boar. It's not that big of a deal because he could have still walked out to take the food, but it would have been annoying. Left side has been completely walled off. In the middle, we have Imzak walling, but the Barces team hasn't made any efforts to wall. Up until this point, it seems like Zastoshi is dispatching 3 villagers to do that wall. We will also have walls from Barles over here. There is a lot of crossings on this map. This one is full of routes in the middle. It's worth noting indeed, as you are saying, that Jerry did wall this one off, but he's down to 14 villagers. He has lost... Where is the villager kill? He has lost 2 villagers, and I assume the reason why he's that much behind is because he also had a lot of idle time. He only lost 2 villagers. It's not that big of a number, but it's also about probably a lot of idle time. In fact, we can actually take a look at that stat. T-cell time, yeah, Jerry had 46 seconds of T-cell time. That's 2 villagers of time. Everybody else had little, with the exception of Nolo Fimbe, who was at 50% or 50 seconds, and Zastoshi with 27. So that's -1 fill from Zastoshi, -2 for Nolo Fimbe. And he also lost 1 over here at Slam's base. It looks like we'll have some random llamas getting taken from this side. We have a barracks up for Barles, and you have to keep in mind that he's Bulgarians. They could open man-at-arms, and the thing is that both Slugtarn and Slam are playing wide open. They haven't walled up this position over here, and that could be something to consider. Also worth noting that these villagers somehow got through. How did these guys get through? Is there a hole here somewhere? Or what happened? These villagers are full HP basically, so it's not like they fought villagers here. What on the earth happened here that these villagers are actually through? There must be a hole here somewhere, right? Maybe this style? They walked around? You mean all the way around? Ah, I see. They may have tried trapping these villagers in here, which would have been a reasonable idea. If they walked all the way around to trap these villagers, they are the ones getting trapped now because, you know, they are surrounded between these green walls and these green walls. Nope. Chat, you're wrong. You're wrong. The opening was not made for these villagers. The opening was made for the llamas of red to pass through. There was actually a hole here. Anyways, Slam is gonna have to wall himself up individually. We will have man-at-arms in here within a second for Barles. He didn't make a third man-at-arms. He's only going for 2 man-at-arms over here, and he might actually be able to hit Slam. Nope. Not Slam, or at least not today. There is still an opening here that Slam could be hit through. There is going to be a considerable opening here for Slugtarn. So Slugtarn could be facing a couple of men-at-arms. Only 2 of them are on the field though, so it's not like Barles is investing a lot into this one. I think that's important because one thing that we have to keep in mind is that Barles is the pocket, so he needs to boom. Just like Iamzak is booming over here. It looks like Iamzak is not going to have a perfect castle age. In fact, what is Iamzak up to? He's far from going for a fast castle, and that is why. As much as there was a hole there, there is a sneaky villager here that I think was detected by that purple scout, but this scout's play here could be very, very devastating. Push the tempo is gonna have to rush up a lot of walls over here ASAP. Luckily for him, he's got a very, very defendable base, so he should be fine, but this is full panic walls. In fact, he is losing control over those berries. That is not great by any means. We also have militias here from Slugtarn to defend. Men-at-arms will be walled out over here. And this is actually going to be a very, very chaotic game because now we have sneaks from both players. And another villager goes down from Push the Tempo. Scout also here to harass the fishing ships. And this side wall isn't super strong either, so the scouts could try getting through here, or they could go and hit Zastoshi, who is still in Dark Age. Oh my goodness, Iamzak's snake could actually devastate, absolutely devastate Zastoshi's team here, because he's already hitting 2 players with that, and he's about to hit the 3rd one. He's able to occupy 3 players, and do you know what this means? This means that Slam is gonna have an insane boom in here, so this man-at-arms opening isn't going to do much. We have a fire galley play here from Barles. So instead of booming as a pocket, he wants to play aggressive. However, the pocket will be delayed because he's going to have to defend. The pocket is going to be delayed because he's pushing over here with fire galleys and men-at-arms. And just in general, the other 2 players, the other pocket is going to be delayed because he's getting pushed here as well. And this flank is going to be severely delayed. I think this is the right thing to do if you're Zastoshi. You have to kind of sacrifice your play here for the sake of walling that one in. That's exactly what you have to do. Pull two Spearmen and wall this one in. Because if you wall this in, that's fine. However, you have to keep in mind that there is a very, very annoying sneaky Voyager over here who is building something that Capture Age is refusing to render. It's Stone Walls. It's Stone Walls, which means that I think he pretty much wants to just isolate Zastoshi over here, potentially prevent the trade going from this corner in the future. I'm not sure what exactly the plan is, but the building has been walled in, so the scouts inside will not actually have any more use. And we also have to keep in mind that Slam, he's up to Castle Age, but he is getting pushed here quite hard, so he was also delayed a little bit. It's very tough to say who has the edge, but if you look at the Voyager counts, you could make an argument for Barles' team. 143 Voyagers compared to 127, and it's not like they're also going up to Castle Age with 2 players, and 2 of them are still in Feudal. So let's see. Spearmen should be able to poke down this lady, and that would be extremely important because that would clean up this entire aggression. There is still a couple of scouts here, and just little things like this, intercepting one Voyager that has quite a lot of food on him, by the way, is going to be so annoying. Anyways, this lady is gonna die. So Barles is committing everything he can for a push over here. And it looks like there were some archers maybe in here as well. Slackthorn is going for his own archers now, and that's a perfect scenario. This is the thing, that as much as, you know, it is okay from Barles to open for men-at-arms, it's not great. But Slackthorn reacted to the archers, and that's perfect for Italian player, because Italians want to go for the archer line in the long run. Push the Tempo indeed has a relatively decent boom over here. 47 Voyagers is the best in the game. Barles only has 38 though, and he's nowhere close to clicking up to Castle Age, which means that he's gonna get outboomed very easily by Slam on 3 TCs, and soon, if Iamzak clicks up, and honestly Iamzak is not far away either, or I'm not close enough either, this could be tricky because I would think that the Khmer player is much more dangerous when you give him the chance to boom than the Saracen player. Saracens can be scary, but the camels will be destroyed by war wagons, which could be something to consider. So I feel like it's actually pretty bad for Slam's team that Slam is the one that is booming and Iamzak is the one that will not be booming anytime soon. Now, it looks like we have an opening here. Those are footsteps. Once again, we should play Guess the Unit. Those are actually units marching through there. And that's why the defensive castle is coming up. It's Capture Age restart time. I kind of have to restart Capture Age here because it would be pretty important to, you know, just see the units that are actually marching through the screen. So, yeah. Capture Age, hello. Okay, good. Good. We are back on track, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for technical difficulties. Now you can see the blob of crossbows that are marching through the base of Nolofimbe. Nice defense over here, by the way. So, TC, castle works more or less fine. This gold mine is gonna get denied, and that's the problem. Crossbows can just camp here and deny the gold mine, and they can deny the rest of the gold mines as well. That is a massive concern, I would say. There's a stable from Zastoshi, so he still thinks, I think, that there might be some additional sneaky Voyagers. And right now, it's 59 Voyagers for Push the Tempo, 59 as well for Slam, so they are the players that are going to be booming the most, and now Barles arrives with the archers, and Slackthorn has moved out with his crossbows, so there is nothing at home that can defend against this one right now, and Slackthorn is taking a quite significant beating. Voyager counts are rather close to each other. Castle Age is on the way for Barles, and he's marching right into the wood line. There is going to be crossbows that clean this one up, but that's a lot of damage that has been done. And also worth noting that they're completely isolating Slam. Look at this. Making stone walls over here makes some sense, because This way, Slam is, unable to break out of his base, at least that easily. So that is something that's also worth considering over here. What else do we have? Janissaries. I mean, Janissaries aren't bad, but crossbows will pretty much be countering those in small numbers. Castle Age is in for Satoshi, who is going for TC number 2, 3, and 4. You already have 4 TC boom for Jerry over here, a player we haven't talked about for quite a while. So, Push the Tempo is an insane boom. 2 pawns, full of fishing ships. In fact, some of them are still taking shorefish, so that's still going to be just better than that. And now Barles is going to add 2 TCs himself. They're behind by 10 villagers, but they will be able to hold this one for the time being. For whatever reason, these spears are poking down a house, probably just, to be annoying as much as it is possible. We will have the scout freaking out over here. He's unable to break out of this one, but there is still 2 scouts running around. Now it's only 1. And the last one is also very low HP, so it's not going to be doing much. The crossbows here are still being a little bit annoying. Siege Workshop will have a mangonel soon, and they will take that down. Remember that there's a Saracen team bonus on those crossbows, so they get through walls pretty easily. That's the reason why they got through the double layer palisades very easily. And it looks like this fire galley is also somewhat freaking out here, probably trying to destroy a dock that is not being displayed by Capture Rage. But yeah, mangonel here should be fine, but I feel like Nolofinve is losing way too many villagers over here. Obviously, it's very hard to play against this one right now, but there is the mangonel coming out. He needs to clean this one up. Misses the first shot, and Slugtarn eats 1 big mango shot, and the second one does not come in. And for now, he's gonna have to fall back a little bit until the second mangonel comes out. We'll have a Siege Workshop here from Slam, who is going into Imperial with 4 TC boom, something that we have to keep in mind. It's not like he has any production buildings though, and we are seeing Scale Mail. So is it gonna be Hob and Onager over here? Or maybe Champion Onager? Not sure if they have Champion, but they should have 200 Swordsmen. Interesting decision from Slam going for it, but it's definitely gonna be Infantry and Onagers from the pocket. 4 TCs right now from Satoshi, 4 from Push the Tempo, 4 TCs from Barles as well. They are behind by 15 villagers. So yeah, if there is Champion but no Halberdier, then it has to be Champion and Onager. Push the Tempo on the way to Imperial himself, but I don't see any production buildings from him, and that is concerning me. And it's not like you can mass war wagons easy, that's the difference. Like, Slam had a full boom, but he can mass units much easier than a player that is going for unique units. That being said, these crossbows here from Slugtarn are doing so much damage. Look at this, it's 59 villagers only from Nolofinve, and he keeps losing villagers to these crossbows. There's a second player imping as well, someone we haven't talked about a lot, and that is Jerry. A lot of villagers are being pulled over here. I wonder if they will try getting a forward castle up somewhere, because that would be something that gets considered. And it looks like we're going to have Push the Tempo dropping a Siege Workshop here, so they want to go for Onagers. They know that this is open, even though Nolofinve had a sneaky rewall here, which was a very smart thing to do. So the thing is that they probably fear that this is going to be the angle that gets pushed. Slam still... Condottieri, I forgot about that. I always forget about that unit, but yeah, that makes some sense. You have Blast Furnace. You, I think, have Infantry Armor number 4 as well. So you can actually play Condottieri, and one of the reasons why Condottieri are so good is because you don't need to have a huge amount of upgrades for them. Like, you can get into Condottieri very fast. And if you just Onager cut and send like 20 Condottieros inside, they will do pretty much the same thing that the Huskars did in the previous game. A little bit less efficient at doing that, but they will actually play the similar role. And as you see, Slam is already cutting through double the military, almost triple the military for Jerry's team right now. And even though there is gonna be boar wagons very soon, but it's only one castle and these guys would just run past. And now there's going to be pikemen as well from Slam. This side is safe for the time being, but once again I feel like the same problem persists for the team of Barles. You have very little military. You went for a boom and now you don't have military. It seems like they will actually be able to revolt this one before a massive disaster would strike, and luckily for them, +4 defense is missing from these condottieri right now, so it's only 2 defense in these. So the TC is gonna be able to kill these couple of condos for now, but obviously this is gonna be a disaster in the long term, especially if a new onager cut comes in here in the middle, and it cannot, you know, I can't just unsee the fact that is a 4-1 military advantage. Once again, just like in the first game, yes, look at this. The stable was deleted by Armzak, so the knights could be free, and now that the knights were free from the model, like they would spawn inside the stable, the knights would actually be able to hit the walls and break out. That's the same thing here as well. And as I said, once again, 78 military against 20. Just like in the first game, Barles' team is too late getting military numbers up. And that's a concern, like, and as I said, war wagons are an amazing unit, but you need time to get there, and look at that, it's only 2 castles slowly getting war wagons out. Do you have the time to do that? That's my question, do you have the time? Barles is gonna be bringing in some cavalier, but it may be too much. Or too late. Like, he's just getting the knights in, +1, +2 is the defense upgrades, and they're already facing cavaliers as well from Jerry. Someone we didn't talk about. Look at the stream of cavaliers and condos coming to the middle. The same thing, like the game starts the same way as game number 1. Barles' team falling behind a military, and they will be punished very hard, and the question is, can they survive this initial push, because there is a legitimate chance that they will just die to this one to an extent where they would just be unable to come back. That could be a nice snipe on an onager, but now it's cavaliers streaming in here, and you're gonna have to go for those keeps to defend. And in the meanwhile, war wagons will get intercepted. The war wagons do not like to engage in direct engagements. You want to be able to micro them away, but in this case you can't. And remember that Slackton could also go for Genoese crossbows, which is something worth looking into as well. 120 military against 60 only. Once again, it's 2-1 in terms of military numbers. And we have a couple of knights here from Barles, but Barles is 96 eco in the pocket. It is a 30 Voyagers lead for Slam's team, and more importantly, a 2-1 military numbers advantage. And this is what condos can do to you if you don't have defense. The Cavaliers would be able to clap the condos, but if you don't have the Cavaliers, if you're just late to making military, any sort of military, you're just gonna get clapped here, and it kind of seems like one pocket is already dying, and what can you do if you're already losing one of your pockets? You have 5 military from Nolo Fimbe, you get 8 from Barles. They combined for 13 military, and it looks like Amzak is just, you know, full eco apparently over here with Khmer. I would think that he's also slinging Slam. We can actually take a look at that. No, Amzak is not slinging Slam, which means that Amzak is gonna be bringing in his own army as well, which is gonna be a Hussar spam. So 84 Vultures only for Barles. The thing is that even if they stop this push, they won't be able to stop the elephants from Amzak. I would think that it has to be elephants from Zak because he's 150 Vultures. If you want to do Hussar spam, you need less Vultures than that because you need a lot of population space. So I would think that it's probably going to be, especially with Tusk Swords coming in here. So yeah, it's going to be elephants. And the right side is also collapsing. Janissaries aren't going to be great at stopping the condottieri. It seems like there is multiple holes on those walls. It's not capturing, it's not rendering something, and you can try going hand cannons against condottieros, but that's not gonna work because if there's one thing that condos do well is actually killing gunpowder units. And yeah, once again, I feel like Barles' team is getting punished for being late to making any sort of military. That's my overall consensus here. They just went for the early aggression that didn't really pay off that much, but then boom into a slow and painful death, or is it a boom into a slow and painful death? Because there is quite a lot of cavalry now on the field, and one thing that's true for both Berbers and Bulgarians is that they don't have paladin. And the Bulgarian cavalry with stirrups is going to be better than the cavalry here. We already have a camel archer switch over here, units that completely disappear when they are firing. But here's the deal. Barles' team is not going to be able to set up trade. They're trying to set up trade over here, but there is already condottieri pushing this side. And soon we could see bombard towers, castles, just securing this corner to prevent any sort of trade from going on. Trade is already being set up by the team of Slam, and that's going to be a completely untouched trade. Random town centers in the middle by Barles, don't ask me why. As we will have Zastoshi going for the Japanese halberdiers against the cavalry. We'll have halberdiers as well from Push the Temple, probably not the unit composition that they wanted to go for, but it looks like we're going to see halberdier siege onager from Push the Temple. And war wagons are still coming out. There's Shinkishon, which is going to increase the range of your onagers by 1. And one of the things that could potentially do a lot of damage to both camel archers and Genoese crossbows in the future is those onagers with the extra range. But as I said, I don't see the answer from Barles' team to stopping this one. I just don't see the answer. Eco numbers, there is a 60 villagers lead for Jerry's team, and they are killing it over here on this side as well. For now, this push in the middle seems to be stalling out, but you cannot underestimate the fact that first of all, these hand cannoneers are all appearing and disappearing. And more important, that hand cannoneers are actually bad against elephants, and hand cannoneers are even worse against the condottieri, so are they against the arbalests. There's a bombard cannon somewhere over here as well that once again is failing to get rendered. So here's a castle coming in here from Slaktar, and as I said, if you actually secure this corner in the long run, all that Slam's team is in the need of doing is holding this corner and then just capitalizing on actually having a stronger trade themselves, because they will always have a stronger trade when their opponents are just physically unable to trade. In fact, they're so unable to trade that it's not like they even trade from here to here, because this push in the middle is also pretty much cutting the trade route into half. Jerry indeed has 31 camels in the making, waiting to be released. I don't know where exactly they are, but it's a good question, where are they? There is 31 heavy camels, now it's only 10. There's a fight. I think they're actually here, it's just Capture H failing to render this, which means that we have to restart it once again. I dream of Age of Empires being a game where it's actually possible to cast without problems. Okay. I don't think they were here. Neither were they over here. So where exactly are they? There's a couple of camels running through the middle here, but it's not an awful lot. I don't think it matters that much, to be honest, even though there is some onagers coming in here that are just leveling those arbs. This guy's just big chilling right now. But as I said, the main problem once again is that they have fallen too much behind. Now that the military numbers are even, it's too late. It's just like game number 1. By the time you catch up in military numbers, it's going to be too late. Stirrups is just coming in here. And we have a petard for Barles, so I wonder what his idea is. I think he's trying to petard his way through here and get into the trade of the opponent, because that's one thing that, that's the only thing that he can hope for. The thing is that, they don't have any trade cards right now. And it's not like they are going to have any trade cards in the foreseeable future, which means that their only hope is that their opponents will also have a crappy eco just like they have. But that seems an unlikely scenario. Poor boars are gonna get killed by the Onager, by the way, in the long run. So we also have to keep in mind that this castle is still standing, And there is no Genoese crossbows coming from Slugtown, but when Genoese crossbows comes in, it's gonna be even crazier. We have Turkish bombard towers over here. For Nolofimi, we are gonna have Italian bombard towers as well from Slugtown. It's all about holding this corner, and as I said, at some point, Slam is gonna bring out the Mamelukes, because it makes more than reasonable sense to go for Mamelukes here. Mamelukes would melt any kind of melee cavalry unit. And if you add the fact that you can make like bombard cannons, for example, with Slugtarn's Italians, you could potentially pick off the onagers, or you can just use the Mamelukes to dive in and kill the onagers just before they absolutely slaughter all those Arabs. In the middle, however, once again it's a stalemate, but it is a stalemate where Barles' team has no trade. Slam is going for heavy camo himself, and it is a stalemate where I don't see how Barles' team was or is going to be ever able to break out of this one. Because it's not like they're pushing the middle. It looks like we will have an onager cut here from Barles. So, oh, Barles! I just mentioned that I don't see how they're gonna break through this one. Barles is dropping a castle in the middle of the trade. Now, there is multiple castles surrounding this one, so it is questionable how long this survives. But at least this is gonna cause some disruption, and a lot of trade could be going down, which could be life-saving for them. That could be life-saving here. That they are just gonna be able to kill so much trade. And that would basically mean that both teams have a very bad trade overall. Military numbers are still relatively even, villager count is getting closer with all that trade going down. And now it seems like we will just have Zach trying to wall this one off as much as possible, pulling villagers to take down onagers. But it's not like Barles could make another onager and cuts through once again. That's an awful lot of trade that is going down. At this point, Slam is sending in the Mamelukes to kill the villagers. Trap from this angle is going to take down this castle, which is huge. And the trap from here could actually take down this castle too. Now, Jerry is going to have to focus on cleaning this one up as well. The villager count getting closer. And what this could actually help in is trying to buy some time overall for push the tempo, potentially Barles to catch up as well. Nolofimve to actually catch up and start becoming a factor in this game. Because they still need to recover this corner in the long run, but they also may manage to push the middle now. Barles' team may be coming back from the hell, as Mem would say, because now that's a lot of Halberdiers, and this completely distracted Slam, this completely distracted Jerry, so the pressure was relieved from the middle, and suddenly they can start pushing the castles. And remember, without castles there's no camel archers, and it's going to force Jerry to go for Cavalier, which is going to get killed by the Halberdiers over here. And now it is Barles' team pushing in the middle. This side, however, this is still a stalemate, and they do not have a very good trade going on. They have trade up, but it's only 44 gold per trip, and these trade cards are still bringing back 127. And now that this castle is down, I don't think this was enough from Barles' team. It doesn't compensate for the fact that your opponent's trade is bringing in 3 times the gold than yours is doing. That is just insufficient. Military numbers now better for Barles' team, but Nolofimve is actually starting to lose villagers over here big time. They are trying to trap this castle down over here, and so far it is actually working well. I think that Slam is assembling a horde of Hussars to dive in on the traps. Potentially Mamelukes will help as well. Onager getting a shot out, misses the target. For now, castle still standing at half HP. And now we have Arbalasts coming in here from Zach. So Khmer Arbalast, not something that you see very frequently. Over here, Hussars getting more and more kills on Nolofimve's eco, who's down to 82 villagers. Still, the ecos are actually pretty close, and the traps are standing. Castle disappears as we have a counterattack coming in here by Rams. And Arbalast should be able to pick off melee units that are trying to stop the Rams over here. Middle, Onagers getting a huge shot in on top of those Arabs. All of them do go down, so this is a tricky scenario because this push is getting scarier and scarier, getting closer to the trade. Barles, also, I think he's thinking about trying to make a push here once again into a trade, and Barles! If they win this game, Barles was the one carrying this. Barles is actually running Krepos into the base of Slam. And there is actually barracks coming up. There is Hussars running into the eco. Slam is still 118 villagers, but he's got 24 idols. And his farming eco isn't actually crazy. Look at this! Slam, how did you allow Krepos here, here, and here? Barles indeed is one of the best Black Forest players out there, so it's not a major surprise, but if this game is won, it's gonna be won because Barles is carrying his team big time. He's distracting Slam like crazy, and this is gonna be cleaned up. I have no doubts about that one. But is it gonna be cleaned up in time to compensate for the fact that Slam is going to be unable to help the left side that is being pushed by Onagers and Trebs and Hobbs? And the north, Nolofimbe is holding this one. And the reason why the push is so important here from Barles is that as much as I said that they're holding the north and they're holding the middle, I didn't see any possibility of a counterattack. Now I see it. And Slam is down to 110 villagers. That still doesn't compensate for the fact that Nolofimbe is at 82. But they're slowly cleaning up this corner, and more importantly, they're distracting the best player of the opponent, Slam. And if you can actually march in here and intercept the trade, suddenly things will look bright again. And now it is Barles getting Hobblers out. We will have the crossbow for Imzak, so he's getting Scorpions in. But there's Onagers on the field, so it's not like the Scorpions will do much against those Onagers, especially because you don't even have a range advantage here. That being said, this push is slowing down a little bit over here. We have some counterattack now here with Elephants and Hussars, and that's something that you always have to keep in mind, that the Khmer player can flood you with a lot of Hussar. In fact, this whole could work both ways. More and more Hobblers coming out here for Zastoshi, and Slam's team is actually falling behind in score. Slam's at 104 villagers, and more importantly, Slam has 15 on food. Slam has 15 on food, guys. Oh my goodness. Slam is getting torn apart over here, and yes, he still has 100 villagers, but he's got 15 villagers on food, and that's going to delay his progress towards Mamelukes, cavalry, whatever, so much. And if you can just temporarily knock one player out of the game over here, that's gonna allow you to counterattack the middle. And now we are having more and more trade intercepted over here to hurt the gold eco. And look at this. Onager is actually pushing up this side. Bombard cannons from Turks here, still without artillery, but they are actually pushing this corner so that they can reclaim their own trade. Slam is at 19 food villagers only. And now look at this. Hablir is pushing into the base of Imzak because they want to push him at the same time too. There is now little Habalirs in the middle, but does it matter? Push the tempo is... now, that's concerning though. That's something that we have to talk about. That they shouldn't allow Imzak to run light cav into the eco of the pocket player completely untouched, because as much as Slam's eco was pretty much devastated by this push over here, the light cav raids could do the exact same thing for Barles' eco. And I feel like Slam still has a better potential to recover in this one than Barles does. And now it seems like the Elephants and the Arbalests combined may be enough, but now the War Wagons do show up. And the War Wagons will actually be a pretty nice unit to fight with over here. 8 Pierce armor on them. And these are Khmer Arbs, and I think Khmer Arbs do not have Tumbling available. Party and Tactics even for Imzak. This corner in the north is still in the hands of Slam's team, but now we have Bombard Towers cutting off the presence of the reinforcements, and soon they will start counterattacking Slektarn. They also found a corner in here, which is going to make the trade a little bit more efficient. Still only 43 gold, but they're getting close to being able to recover this corner, which would help immensely. Slam with the light calf push, now back to 30 villagers on food. And Arbalests are still holding, but there is an increasing amount of war wagons pushing over here. Plus, there is still Habadirs inside these barracks, which would make life very hard for Slam. Siege Onager even for Barles. He is gonna get some Onagers out here on the other side of the map. In the middle, we'd have more and more light calves streaming in from Zag. That is something that they have to stop here. They can't allow these light cavs to run into the eco. And Jerry is also going for his own light cavalry over here, so apparently he's having some gold issues. And yeah, indeed, that's worth pointing out that we have 3 players going for hubs. Barles is going hubs, Nolo Finve is going for hand cannoneers, but we have hubs from push to tempo and hubs as well from Barles. Big cavalry push coming in here, but once again, they will pretty much be slaughtered by the halberdiers. The thing I'm lacking over here is onagers, but bombard towers. And bombard towers here into the middle of the trade would be so devastating. There's a lot of ARPs here that you fight against, but just a couple of good onager shots could level them to the ground, just like that one. Even the traps are joining the party, trying to kill the ARPs and securing a little bit more ground so you can actually push in with bombard towers. A sneaky bombard tower. This is actually a bombard tower rush over here, thrashing the wood line of Nolo Finve, who is back to 107 villagers. Everybody is above 100 once again. So Slam has sort of recovered, but his eco is still somewhat rampaged by this one. And a sneaky barracks. Barles has sneaky villager over here at the back. He's probably building another barracks or stable behind, and he just wants to unleash them once again. And those sneaks from Barles, the villager push, is just crazy. Now, that being said, it looks like Jerry's and Zach will be able to hold this crossing over here. And somewhat miraculously, Slam's team is still controlling this corner. So Slam is now going for Siege Archer, and now Mamelukes will join the party over here. Mamelukes having pretty reasonable upgrades, if I'm not mistaken, indeed. 10+4 elite Mamelukes are in. And in the middle, as you see, the Arbs are slowly pushing back. So hubs are nice, but if you don't have onager support, the Arblasts will just pick you apart. Left side, this is so peaceful here. And it looks like the halberdiers will soon pop out. Remember that the trade is still better for Slam's team. Now the Rams will just get completely destroyed by the Mamelukes. They need something other than halberdiers because their opponents are now Arbs and Mamelukes. Or they need some onagers to get some good hits in. Nice dodge from Slam over there. Picks off another onager. And we will have onager coming in here as well from Amzak. Basically everybody is teching into onager now. Some of the traps will get intercepted by the Cavalier, which seemed like a disaster for Zastoshi. This game is so close in terms of score. It keeps flipping and flipping. And here's the deal now. Slam once again is losing a lot of villagers. This time Slam is losing all his lumberjacks. He's got 88 villagers, or well 88 eco, but all the wood villagers are gone. Many food villagers are getting killed. Barles once again knocking Slam out of the game for maybe just enough time for the rest of his team to have a chance of counterattacking, but they need something else, I feel like, from Nolo Finve now. So, just hand cannoneers won't do. I feel like Sipahi Cav archers would be the play here from him, or he needs to start spamming bombard towers. Like, you're never gonna push through this one with halberdiers only. You either need onager support, like big time onager support, or you need something that kills those guys. A random hussar running around, getting some damage done. Slam down to 91 eco, but more importantly, I think what matters is that he's down to 10 villagers on food. And as much as he can buy food, because the food price is probably very low, you don't want to, because that helps the opponent's team, who would probably be selling their food, because they have a little gold income. We'll have keeps coming in here now for a Slugtarn alongside Theocracy. Don't ask me why Theocracy is a thing here for Slugtarn, because I have no idea. Now, this one is going to be a crossing that they are going to hold bombard tower defense from Slugtarn. So they will hold this crossing. A TC! Barles actually makes a TC over here, so that he can actually reinforce his forward with additional villagers. This is still gonna go down, but he is not giving up on that sneak anytime soon. Trying to go for the Stirrups Hussars. This hold here in this corner is insane, by the way. Hand cannoneers are not really that bad, but I mean, they're not meant to deal with elephants and Mamelukes. So like, yeah, these hand cannoneers are nice and everything, but light caps will still do reasonable damage against them. Bombard cannon indeed was sniped down by a ram, and now there is some onagers, siege onagers actually from Slam. One good hit on top of those hand cannoneers and this game could be over. Oh my goodness, this is 1 hour 11 minutes. Onager gets one hit in, Onager gets a second hit in, all those hand cannoneers go down, and Nolofinve is back to 9 in military only. Slam's team once again taking over in terms of military numbers, but now they're pushing for this corner. I feel like they are going to open up the front line here once again. Barles' forward here has finally been cleaned up. Like, there are things like docks, I think the dock is still there, although I'm not sure anymore because the fishing ships are dead, or at least most of them are idle. There is some bombard towers, look at this! Look at what Slugturn is doing, he's dropping bombard towers behind the wood line of Nolofinve here, and Nolofinve lost quite a lot of villagers in that. Now the trade is going to this market, which means bombard towers once again can join the party. And Slam still with reasonable Mameluke numbers in this one. The question is, what can this push do now? And it seems like this was a very ambitious effort from Barles, trying to push in here. Slam is gonna have the defense. And now the Mamelukes could dive in and snipe the traps over here, defensive bombard towers as well from Slugturn. They have Zealotry coming in here for Slam, something that was missing for a long time to get some extra HP for those camos. And indeed, despite, like, given the circumstances on how low the trade is for Barles' team, they have held out pretty well in this one, but I feel like now the trade is gonna show for Slam's team, because this forward is gone. Slam's eco has more or less recovered. He's 222 villagers, he's got the trade. Their trade is very efficient and long running. It's 128 gold per run. This is 43. They have a 3 times better trade than their opponent, and that's not something that is sustainable this long, I think. So Slam's team now taking over, and the other problem is that it's full Halberdiers. 36 Hobs and Siege Onagers from Barles. Halberdiers Onagers from Push the Tempo. Hand Cannoneers and Halberdiers as well from Zastoshi, which means that Arbalasts and Camel Archers will still have a nice day. And I think, as much as we would say unit composition is what decided, I think gold is what decided. The fact that they were able to hold this forward here forever, and there was never a good trade running for Barles' team. And remember, the roots of this can actually... Heated Shot! Zach is actually teching into Heated Shot. Is there something I do not know about Heated Shot? A lot of people seem to be teching into Heated Shot, but that should be doing nothing here, right? Yeah, Tridom is saying nope. So that Heated Shot is just probably a mistake. Over here. Oh, Barles once again. He just wants to push this one. He's not ready to give up on this just yet. So he's gonna start pushing him in the onagers, and Mamelukes could be exposed to onagers very easily here. But now if you see this side is getting pushed, this middle is getting pushed insanely fast, and it's 260 against 190 military. I feel like Barles has everything that he could, but if you summarize this game, what you see is that Barles' team was late adding military. The reason why they are behind the whole game is because they were late adding military and they allowed this one to happen. By the time they had military numbers that are good enough, they were fighting as this forward and they were never able to establish good trade. So, yeah, now it's Arbs, and Halberdier is a nice thing until you have onager support to them. And I feel like Bombard Towers here, it's all about stopping this push, and then this game is over, I would say. So, yeah, now this is Camel Archers, and they can start running into a trade and disrupt what little gold income that is being brought in. Now, there is a 2000 score difference. I feel like the game is over here. This is about attrition here. Attrition in a manner that your opponent's trade is 3 times more efficient than yours, and that is not sustainable in the long run. And I really want to credit Slam and Slugturn for holding this forward here. That was an insane hold. They have been holding this forward for, I don't know, half an hour now. Against bombard cannons, traps, there were massive efforts from the team of Barles to clean this one up, but it was never possible. And now it is getting closer and closer to defeat. It's almost 2 times the military now. Bombard cannons in here, camel archers in here. Nulofimvi has little army, 23. And look at that, Amzak is at 85 military. A lot of that is Arabs. There is quite a lot of elephants on the field, onagers, scorpions. And yeah, I just feel like this is over. It's gonna be over because of the so much better eco for Slam's team. And at some point, the difference between the gold units and non-gold units is going to show. Like, see, camel archers running in here. As much as keeps are helping over here, at this point, Jerry is more than happy to trade camel archers to trade cards, because it is gonna be, you know, it's just gonna be much better for him at the end of the day that he's killing the trade of the opponent. And usually team games end with one team losing their trade. That is going to be the scenario over here as well. That trade was already a lot less efficient than the opponent's trade, but they're going to lose that little gold income that they have over here. And it's 308 military against 130, 600 pop against 800. This game is over. Barles' team has played extremely good in this game as well. It's just about they actually started making military a little bit too late. And there was a moment, anyone remembers how this game started, with Slam popping out about 50 condottieri when the opponent had 0 army? That was the problem. That they just lost ground so fast to the condos. And Slam's team is gonna be getting into the grand finals over here if things remain unchanged. And that means that they will fight against either Modri's team or Doubt's team. We could see a Doubt versus Slam team grand finals in Drunken Forest. Now it is just a matter of time, I think. Because this one is collapsing, this one has completely collapsed. So yeah, at this point it's 130 military against 300. It's almost 3 times the military now. And the trade is a lot less efficient. Villager numbers are now completely even, but it's a matter of army numbers. Ruben's team is out? Ruben's team is out, yes. I think... Who did Ruben's team play against? I think they played against Modri's team, right? Or maybe Doubt's team. Oh yeah. I remember I casted that series, so you can actually find it here on my channel, in case you're interested. I did cast Ruben versus Doubt. Or was it Ruben versus Modri? I don't remember, but I casted Ruben's Stock series. And, well, as I said, it's a matter of time now. So, it's 95 army against 323. So, really, this is gonna go nowhere anymore. This is gonna go nowhere for Barles' team. They are just dropping in population very fast. Obviously, they don't want to tap out because, you know, they're really trying hard in this one, but this boat has sailed away. I feel like their deficit was just way too big when they allowed the condottieri to just roam free. Like, pretty much, they just didn't have enough military when they needed that in early Imperial, and they just got overrun. Lost this corner thanks to Slam's condottieri, also Slam or Slugtarn's crossbows, and then Arabs. Worth pointing out that the Saracen team bonus helped here quite immensely, because the first couple of crossbows from Slugtarn got through the palisade walls because of the Saracen team bonus. So the Saracen team bonus came in clutch over here. Barles played out of his mind in this game with the push in here onto the trade, the sneaky Voyagers, the Crepas drops, and for a moment it seemed like Barles' team is actually going to be taking over, but then Jerry and Imzak had an insanely good hold over here. And this hold over here and this hold over here was the one that secured the win for Slam's team. At the end of the day, despite that somewhat wacky mid-game for Slam where he lost a lot of Voyagers, he's going to end up being top scoring. And with a wonderful 1.5 hour long game, you see the KDs, Zastoshi 645 kills, 1000 deaths over there. Imzak with almost 1000 kills, 800 deaths. Slugtarn 813 kills to 433 deaths. Slugtarn has played extremely good in this one. And at the end of the day, we are going to have Team Slam getting into the grand finals of Drunken Forest. Congratulations to them. And the semifinals tomorrow will be the one that decides if they are going to be playing against Doubt's team or they're going to be playing against Modri's team. So in case you're watching on this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching.